Get to the chopper.
Start the stream
Now.
I think this is the real Quaid. It is. Do it.
Just Mars.
Consider this at the force.
See the body Victor.
Got really Austrian in here real fast.
Yeah. Hello, everybody, and welcome to Midnight's Edge After Dark. It is later than I wanted to be, but we're here and we're live. I had to reboot my computer. Sorry about that. Please share out the link and hit that like button if you haven't already. Joining us tonight, we have a panel of 6, and we have 6 on the panel. How you doing?
I'm doing great. Just wonderful. And I'm glad that you're only 7 minutes late.
Technically, yes.
So we're early.
So, yes,
Yeah.
we're technically early
Yeah.
by Tom time.
Tom
This is way
time.
early by Tom time. Also joining us today on the stream is the one, the only, we got 6s and 70s, Rock Band.
Well, good evening. Isn't this is a very 6y stream? It's one of the 6iest streams I've been on in a long time.
You're one 6y motherfucker.
You're 6y. You're too 6y for this stream. Good evening, all.
Yes, we're so glad to have you here. And of course, that laugh we hear in the background is the one, the only Nick Weiser. How you doing, my friend?
I'm good, sir. Happy to be here. Looks like, I get out of work today and all of a sudden I hear some big news. I'm like, holy crap. I definitely know what we're going to talk about. I get on my phone. I'm like, yep, I knew it. So happy to be here. Hail to the chat. Hail to the mods. Thank you all for being here. Make sure you rub that thumbs up button the right way. Tom, thank you for having me. Script, Klobby, 670s. Let's roll.
Yes, indeed. We also have Klobby in here. How you doing?
Hey, I think I exist, so that's good enough.
Hey,
I believe I.
we're gonna need you
before I
today
am.
because we got some comic book stuff to talk about.
Never heard of them. What's a comic book? I mean, you
it's,
guys read comics? You bunch of babies? What the hell?
Actually, they kind of look like this isn't a comic book, but this came with my latest. This finally got here only like a week and a half later. Whatever.
You guys got comics. You're a bunch of.
This kind of is what a comic book looks like.
The Lost Boys.
Is that a comic or a DVD?
It's
it's
actually
not-
from the Blu-ray. It's just a cover for the.
Okay, gotcha.
If
Oh,
it's
nice.
not the
Oh,
bean,
okay.
But
if
they
it's
did
not
it in
the
like a
Beano
comic
or
book
the
form,
Dandy, it's not a comic.
which goes with it because of course the Frog Brothers run a comic book shop.
It's like, is this a graphic novel? Ugh. I
It's
hate,
just some
I hate that
pictures.
term.
It comes with the. Blu-ray,
Yeah, it's a term that just tries to make things sound more serious than
Oh,
they
I hate
actually are. It's
big
like, dude,
graphic
it's just a
novels.
comic book. Just say it. It's a comic
People-
book.
Right. People misuse graphic novel often. That's why I hate it. But anyway, sorry.
Yeah, well, makes it sound.
There's comics and there's trades. That's how I look at it.
That's
Comics
right.
and trades. And there were some
Trades I
graphic
like. I like trades. I
Listen.
like that term. I like trade.
There were some graphic novels though, but just not everything is.
I remember when they used to call it trade paperbacks on the.
And they still are. There you go.
It's like Jaws 2, the novelization, available on trade paperbacks.
Ah, yes, yes. Do you have the Jaws 2 comic book adaptation, Tom?
I do.
Marvel
it was
Super
Marvel
Special?
that did that, wasn't
Marvel
it?
Super Special. Yeah, okay. They didn't do the first film, but they did directed by
Yeah.
Joe Schwartz.
Jaws 2 available on Fax and 8-track.
Yeah.
And CED. Also joining us, speaking of CED and Canadians, while we're at it, we've got Script Doctor here as well. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. I'm glad to be back. I was so busy last week. I need this
Say,
rested.
I wasn't sure you were going to make it, but I'm glad you're here because we got a few things to talk about.
Yeah, so how was it working on She-Hulk script?
I think it's a little late for that.
Wait,
bro.
you wrote that
Very
last
late.
episode script, damn it? Dude.
No, unfortunately,
No, we can
I was
hope
not
for
working
something
as something
else.
as prestigious as Disney. This was a Canadian production, so it's already
Oh.
doomed.
Nobody cares.
I got my money.
Yeah. I got my money, eh?
You got my taxes.
Oh, Lord.
It might be. I don't know if they got government funding for this.
The only time, like, I would ever get upset if I found out later on that scripted worked on something that we were, like, whatever, that we know. would be like maybe like if he worked on like the Gremlin series or Beavis and Butthead, I would totally have to like track him down and kick the shit out of him for not consulting with me first. Like,
Oh yeah.
of all the things.
I'm hoping it was a sequel to Strange Brew that you were working on.
Oh, that would be amazing.
That would be awesome.
I've actually
You
had a
would never
couple
hire me
ideas.
for that. I,
Oh,
I,
I
I,
wish-
I followed Dave Thomas, and I've encountered him a couple of times, but I don't think he's interested.
Until he called the
I've heard he's a
RCMP on
pretty
you.
nice guy. Is that true?
He is a really nice guy.
Yeah, I've heard some people who have, like you yourself, have run into him and talked to him a few times. Even worked with him, and they said he's really good.
I've worked with him in like a very passive capacity, but I've also worked with a bunch of other people from Second City Television and Second Cities as well.
Well, I mean,
like
John
all the greats
Candy-
they are great. The only one I never met John Candy. He died before I even got.
No, I know, but I mean,
Anywhere.
I've heard enough stories about him to be like, man, the guy was a fucking saint, practically. Like, I mean, sure, he wasn't perfect. He had his problems like everybody else, but
He did, but he was a really lovable guy. In fact,
Yeah.
there's a neighborhood kid that was getting bullied, and he named one of his comedic characters after him so that he would stop getting bullied, and it worked.
Hmm.
And I'm like, yeah, that shows like how much he kind of cares about people.
yeah, that's what I heard. He was very giving and caring. Like if you ever met him, no matter what, he would always take the time to talk to you. And he was very gracious with the fans and stuff. I heard. So
He also really loved the Toronto Argos, but he just could not hold on to that team.
yeah, I remember you talking about that before. Yeah. So yeah, let's get into this. We got a couple of super chats already. I'm gonna turn off my auto adjust because everybody says I'm quiet. I'm either too loud or I'm too quiet. So
Your
Turn it
mic
down
is
even
bipolar,
further.
dude.
I know, right? So hopefully that will help. I just adjusted it a little bit. Let me know in the chat how we evened out there. But let's see what we got for super chats. We got Beat Bop Boop in the house. It says, "Will this ruin the impact of the ending of Logan?" Nah, because that's a far off into the future sequel kind of thing. And didn't they kind of address that as kind of like a
One-off
Elseworlds kinda
standalone.
story.
Yeah, they've been very undefinitive about it, like one of those you decide type of thing. So
choose your own adventure, kind of like Halloween?
Yep. That and the 5 endings, kills or ends apparently did.
Yeah, because I don't even know which version of Professor X that's supposed to be in that one.
I thought that was a Picard, not Professor X. Sorry, I'm just kidding.
Yes.
I'm sorry.
It was
You
Picard.
just want me to fucking die.
It should have been.
I'm a robot. Now leave me alone.
I can't die. I'm a fucking droid.
It's hard to tell the two of them apart when they get to that stage.
Why won't they let me die? Sorry.
It's all shriveled.
Sorry.
Everything's shriveled.
Santar says, found a copy of Star Trek The Director's Cut at my local Walmart. Wow. Surprised. One with the bonus disc last they had. Watched it with my dad on Saturday. Stunning. Yeah, you got the standard edition. That's really cool. I'm surprised they actually had it at a Walmart. Walmart hardly carries anything for fucking movies anymore.
Now I need to go to Walmart.
Mine sold out of
Take a look.
Elvis a week and a half ago or whatever, or 2 weeks ago, whatever it was when it came out. I was like, are you
Dang.
fucking kidding me? Brand new movie and it ran out already?
Wow.
It did
Yeah.
do pretty good at the
Yeah.
box office, and it pretty much ended right where I expected it. So I was accurate with my expectation. I said it was gonna be between 125 and 150 domestically, and either hit right around there or slightly above it. So yeah,
Well, it's clearly selling better than I had thought it would. And I can't believe Best Buy didn't do a steelbook. Like,
Well, I
there's no
wonder if they're
steelbook.
altering how many copies of videos that they order to have in the stores based on how streaming has been booming, and maybe they're thinking people aren't going to be buying so many.
Maybe, but it was just
Best
weird. 'cause
Buy
I went in
doesn't
there,
carry
they
anything anymore.
had some Blu-rays and DVDs left, but they were all sold out of the 4K. Is what I was talking about.
I
Like the
noticed
4K
in
were
Wal-
hard to come by. Even Amazon sold out of the 4K for about a week.
I noticed in Walmart today that they had an enormous supply of Thor: Love and Thunder.
Oh yes,
Like,
they do. And Lightyear.
dozens
They
of
still
them.
have shit tons
And
of
Lightyear.
Lightyear.
Yeah.
I didn't even buy a copy of that, and I like that movie.
You did kind
I buy everything.
I'm.
You should buy
know
two
what?
and send me one then.
Spider-Man: No Way Home is the first Marvel movie I've bought since I think what was the one that came? Oh, the last Spider-Man movie, I think. Actually,
Yeah,
I don't think
so
I've bought
far
any
from
since
home.
then.
Okay.
Yeah, so Far From Home was the last one I bought, and then this one.
Really?
I'm pretty sure. I got to think a little harder, but I think that was it.
So I've pre-ordered the Top Gun box set, the super special double
The
package.
Father's Day
whatever.
edition, I'm calling it.
Yeah, the big
The
one.
one with all the patches and all that business.
Exactly. Yeah. So
The only thing it's missing is a pair of sunglasses.
I mean, I would call that the Remembrance Day version because that Remembrance Day and Memorial Day are closer than Father's Day. Father's Day was
Yeah.
months ago.
I just called it that because that's like the type. That's the thing you get your dad, right? Like it's
It was
just.
I bought it as a
That's what
Christmas
you want your
present
kid
to
get you
myself.
for Father's Day.
It's a Christmas present to me.
It's a
From
great
me.
one.
Yeah. I think it'll arrive sometime in December, or so they say. But
And now they're saying that my mic is overcompensating for.
I turned you up some more too.
I'm putting it back on auto. It does.
don't
Okay.
turn them on too much.
Just get him up.
Pilgrim asks, can Black Adam be saved? Well, the latest rumor is that the test screenings did worse than Batgirl.
I know, what the hell?
I believe that because
Wow.
I remember
Really?
the initial test screenings were on par with Batgirl.
Yeah. And although I've heard there is a placeholder for Henry Cavill, I have yet to hear of any kind of confirmation or any kind of like, oh yeah, he's been around or he's been in talks or anything like that. So I would not get my hopes. And at this point, I think that's the only hope that this thing has. You know what I mean? Like,
I
It's
don't know
not
how
good to have your movie be reliant on a single cameo that's less than 3 minutes. And
ask
Yeah.
Doctor Strange.
yeah,
I just, the thing is, that I keep hearing all these, there's all these rumors about Henry Cavill this, Henry Cavill that. He's gonna be at this convention. He's gonna be in cameo in this movie, and almost none of it has happened. It's just like I will not believe anything until I see headlines everywhere,
I actually
everywhere,
heard
everywhere.
some other rumor from somewhere else that's not related to my Warner sources that he's close to signing on to some other deal, and I can't remember what it was now. Some other franchise.
I've heard that in the next Superman movie there'll be a Henry Cavill cameo,
Yeah,
That'll
flashback.
be the first.
like the last one.
Yeah, like Claudia just said, a flashback.
Yeah, there'll be 3
You know,
minutes. of
flashback
Superman.
to his cameo in Shazam.
Oh Lord.
that's in Shazam too.
Yes. Could be.
So no, I don't think there's much that could save Black Adam right now, Pilgrim.
I'm really surprised. I mean, how difficult is it to fuck that up? I mean, regardless of
pretty
what you
easy
think
to
of
fuck
The Rock, he always has brings a certain level of name recognition and bums on seats. So it must.
Yeah.
How bad can it really be? You know.
Well,
You
The
bet.
Rock, the
Look at
bums
where
in
they're
the
coming
seat-
from when they're
It's
making this
DC.
movie.
Movies,
Yeah.
so it can be pretty bad.
The Rock is not necessarily the biggest draw in the world, as people think. He's big internationally, but he's not as big in the U.S.
Well, he's never been able to carry a movie across the threshold to make him the A-list star that he is. He's always been a complimentary star from an ensemble cast. He
Yes.
makes a lot of other great big names all work well together, or at least a couple of medium-style names like your lower A-tier actors in an ensemble. He's like a glue that holds them together. Like you go to see him, but you stay and rewatch for the other actors that can really knock it out of the park, so to speak.
And even that, I think, is in question yet until he does something else besides Jumanji. Because I would sit there and argue that he didn't do shit for G.I. Joe.
He didn't do much
And-
of anything for Mummy 2 Scorpion King.
Well, then it was before he was even The Rock.
Yeah.
But
No,
hear
but
what you're
I remember
saying,
the
but-
advertisement push around that about the fact that he's leaving wrestling
Yeah.
for film, and it was like, what? So
Yeah. Well, and the other one I was going to say is he didn't. You're going to have a hard time convincing me that he had any effect on the Fast and the Furious franchise. I think it would have
no,
been
the
the same
Fast
with or
and the
without
Furious
him.
took off after Tokyo Drift, and that's kind of when it,
That's what I'm
gone.
saying. So
Fourth
even at this
movie.
point, I have yet to see some kind of real, true, and even Jumanji.
San Andreas was okay, but it wasn't as. I mean, it was well marketed. A lot of
It
people
still
had
didn't
positive
make 300
reception.
million. I don't.
Yeah, but it didn't do that well. Yeah, people
That's
just
what I'm
it was a
saying,
one
yeah.
and done for it. And then technically he saved Rampage, but Rampage did not perform.
Barely made a profit. Yeah.
Yeah.
Holly thinks The Rock's best role is Be Cool, and that's
You know,
good.
that was a good movie.
But
I
think-
See, in
I
that
think-
movie actually goes against what we're saying here because
Yeah.
they added him to that movie, and that movie did shit compared to the first one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My
will
favorite
say
is
shit, but
my
I
favorite is
enjoyed
Pain
it.
and Gain. Pain and Gain is the best one that he ever did.
I
Pain
think the
and
most
Gain.
animated role that he ever did that is underrated because it's in a terrible movie was in Southland
Guys.
Tales.
How
Mm.
dare you not praise the Scorpion King for the masterpiece that it is?
The-
Look
the
at that
special effects
amazing
are-
8th grade CGI.
They're amazing.
Actually, that was really good CGI for the time.
Not
Dude,
really.
I was laughing in 2001 when I saw. I
Mm.
shit
I did
you
too. I
not.
was like,
I
what the
laughed.
fuck
I'm
is this?
like, because it's just like remember when
hated
you're in
the
class
movie.
when you're in elementary school and they bring down the box TV on the cartwheel and they have you watch those weird movies with like weird CGI. It looked like one of those movies during that
Well, I
scene. I'm
left
like,
high school when CGI became commonplace, so I never got to experience that.
Well, people are pointing out Journey too, but I mean, that was barely a sequel. It was like a concept more than a
Pain
sequel.
and Gain,
was
and
in,
it's one of the best Michael Bay movies. Pain and Gain. That's
Yeah,
The
but
Rock's best.
That didn't do as well box office wise, but critically, I know that was one that the critics, some of them enjoyed it, and that was one that a lot of people afterwards said, "Yeah, don't let the fact that Michael Bay directed that deter you from watching it. It's actually a pretty decent movie." I haven't had a chance to check it out yet, but I've heard.
Oh, it's great.
Decent
Yeah, and The
thing
Rock
about it.
plays against type, so it's good. Yeah.
Well, and that's why I liked him in Be Cool because he plays the gay guy in Be Cool.
Yeah, exactly.
And then
Or
deleted
is
scenes-
that against type?
Yeah,
is he
right.
playing against type?
deleted? Well, have you seen his ex-wife? Deleted scenes says Clavi. Any thoughts on the new Sergeant
Ex-wife.
Rock comic?
Ex-wife.
There's a new Sergeant Rock comic.
they ride today.
That was supposed to be out today. Bruce Campbell writing it with the Sergeant Rock versus Army of the Dead. I almost want to see it just because Bruce Campbell did it. I don't buy any new comics that much, but they got some interesting art on it. I mean, it's not a traditional Sergeant Rock comic, not a Canada or Cuba Sergeant Rock or anything like that, but I don't know. It might be a fun thing to see. Nothing against it deleted, but I don't really buy a lot of new comics, but I probably would have, if I were near a comic shop, maybe take a look at it. Got some interesting art and interesting covers. So
Well,
it's
I
supposed to
did
be
not
out
know
today.
about that.
You know, Bruce
That's
Campbell
interesting.
writing a comic. I mean, just kind of that's weird enough, right? So,
Well, and then Army of Darkness
Well-
is actually coming out on Blu-ray here in about. 2
Oh.
Oh. Nice. I need another version of that.
Yeah, I know, right? I got it.
I don't have a Blu-ray yet. I had all
I need
those.
the 4K Blu-ray. Yeah.
Weren't there like 20 different DVDs way back when they were just that thing was just slamming them out there? And
I have
I love
probably
that movie.
almost every version of it. Yes.
Yeah.
Nearly every version. D-Bud Martin says this is for playing Spinal Tap on Mead Radio. Oh wow, awesome! Best pirate radio station on YouTube. Arr.
I see
Everyone
what he
should
did there.
subscribe
He gave you
since-
11.
Yeah. I didn't even notice that till now. No, you said that. Since next month will be Halloween month on Mead Radio. Yes, it will be. We could probably play Stonehenge.
Ooh. Dude, fucking Stonehenge.
Stonehenge. where the people dwell. Member chat from Toxic Men Flu, who's been a member for 6 whole months.
See ya, man.
Toxie. How you doing? Actually, he's been a member or he gifted 10 memberships. That's what it was. Hey, Brahma Bull got one. He's in the house. Awesome. We got Max Powers here. We got Gene Starr, Lee Clements, Dobbin, all got a new membership. Nazmir Unlimited, Michael Marco, Shadow Strike 247, Art Bar, and Hooligan S3. Thank you so much for that, Toxic Man Flu. That is amazing balls. We got to get you in here one of these days too. So all right, let's crack into some of this news because this just blew up Twitter a couple hours back. It was like, oh, it's gonna be a slow fucking day, and then all of a sudden this happens. So Ryan Reynolds decided to put out a tweet, so I guess we might as well just let it speak for itself here. What do you say?
Hey everyone, we're extremely sad to have missed D23, but we've been working very hard on the next Deadpool film for a good long while now.
I've had to really search my soul on this one.
His first appearance in the MCU obviously needs to feel special. He needs to stay true to the character, find new depth, new motivation, new meaning.
Every Deadpool needs to stand out and stand apart. It's been an incredible challenge that has forced me to reach down deep inside. I have nothing. Yeah. Just completely empty up here. And terrifying. But we did have one idea. Hey, Hugh, you want to play Wolverine one more time?
Yeah, sure, Ryan.
Oh, he's gonna come.
Always love you.
Coming June. That's funny.
Coming June.
It looks like it says coming
Huge.
Yeah. And of course, the
Cute.
right. So yes,
Jeez, it's a
just
distance
under
out.
a year away. Yes, indeed. And then, of course, on that note, weirdness. John Krasinski turns around and tweets out. Let me see if I can bring this up here. Because this was another one that made everybody kind of scratch their heads a little bit. But at the same time, I'm wondering because I kind of vaguely remember hearing them filming some Deadpool 3 shit during Doctor Strange. Because I don't know if you guys remember when we talked about it. Everybody was saying, "Oh, he's going to be in Doctor Strange." Like he might be, but I thought I heard something more about their filming some scenes for Doctor Strange during Doctor Strange 2 for Deadpool 3 or some shit like that. But, anyway, I can't find the tweet now, of course. Where is it?
But he said something about, is this our movie?
Yeah, is this
Or
our
isn't
movie?
this-
Yeah, he
this is our
retweeted
movie?
the yeah. But so that opens up the door for that situation. So it makes me wonder what's going on there.
Well, John Krasinski is directing a movie with Ryan Reynolds.
yeah.
and that's-
Oh, is that maybe just him joking?
That was the Imaginary Friends.
Probably.
And that must have been the set, something on the set of Imaginary Friends. Because isn't Hugh Jackman in that also?
Maybe. They could have just used it, yeah, as a jumping off point. Because he's been doing that with a lot of his movies.
Yeah, those Strange cameos aged well. Not even, man, Krasinski was barely even Reed. He was just
He's
John
not Reed.
Krasinski.
He's
He was
never
John
going to be
Krasinski.
Reed.
No, he really never will. He was John Krasinski.
He can wear the costume all he wants. People can call him that name, but he's still going to be John Krasinski. That's his
Agreed.
flaw as an actor. Works for Jim because that's the first and only time we've ever really seen him act. But if you watch
Yep.
all of his other movies, he's still John Krasinski. Even in his
Yep.
Jack Ryan show, I still see John Krasinski pretending to be Jack Ryan.
No, I don't think I could see him as Jack Ryan. I've not watched the show. But...
You know, I'm kind of actually surprised that we're actually like gonna get this like movie like in a straight up R-rated thing. Like I actually didn't think it would happen, but I'm kind of glad it is. Like I was never the biggest fan of Deadpool's stuff. Like I used to be kind of interested, but then when I was reading comics like Wolverine before him, they love to fatigue you by way of readership. Let's say, hey, let's put Wolverine in every book. That became let's put Deadpool in every book. So I got burnt out on them faster than I could get interested in the character. But you know, the first movie is fun, and I enjoyed the first movie. So, and Reynolds clearly still is passionate about this character, and it's a character that suits him best. So I think it might actually have potential to be decent. Maybe I'm being overly optimistic, but I truly believe that.
Yeah, I'm with it.
I didn't like the second one.
Really,
I
I kind of
didn't
like the second
either.
one. I like
I
the
didn't
second
care
one.
for the second one.
That was
I mean,
pretty-
it's not now compared to a lot of bad movies. It's not nearly
Yeah.
bad, but like, it's like, okay, if the first movie was like a 9 or 10 out of 10, the second
Yeah.
one to me was like a 6. Like,
Mm.
yeah, it's passable as a
I
film.
think I liked
but
it better than the
hated-
first one.
Oh, you did? I hated that
Yeah.
kid, and I hate that they killed what's her face in the beginning of the movie. I thought that was.
Oh, that was terrible. Yeah, yeah. And I didn't
What
like.
I
the kid
liked
much,
about
but I love those opening credits. The second one, though. I hilarious.
I
The
liked
James
what I
Bond
liked
ones.
about the first one. I was surprised. I was surprised to see how much heart the movie had, and it actually worked. And it still felt very Deadpool despite it, because that's not a trait they usually always associate with that character. But it worked.
Yeah, it's fun stuff. But those are fun movies. I wouldn't mind seeing another one, but they don't really matter much to me personally.
Oh
They
yeah,
come out, they make
I-
one, I'll watch it. They go to all that trouble, I'll watch it.
especially if it's gonna be all hijinks and mayhem and all the
Yeah, they
debauchery
are,
that is
always.
potentially possible. That's the only way that's gonna make that thing work. It because they literally cannot dial that down one bit. They can't. Otherwise we're just gonna have X-Men Origins, Wolverine, Deadpool, or worse, and we don't need that. We already had our eyes starred once before with a who was a merc with no mouth.
It was so stupid. X-Men Origins is so stupid, man.
Hopefully they get a
Horrible.
decent writer on this one, because yeah,
Oh yeah, that's another one. You gotta have a writer who's gonna not be afraid to like offend people and let him get raunchy with the jokes and shit.
I'm not so much worried about that as the story. Like, I just didn't care for the second film. I didn't. I
It was a
didn't hate
story?
it, but
Oh yeah,
just-
bro.
I don't know. It just
Yeah, I hear you. No, I got you.
I was stretching to understand what Deadpool's real motivation was in the movie. I mean, I got it, but it was like, why does he care that much? Like, it just didn't. It
No, I
just
hear you.
wasn't really kind of like. And that kid was obnoxious as fuck. Most of it was just the acting.
Oh
I hate to
yeah,
say it, or
that
the
kid.
direction, whatever it was between the two, because
Uh-huh.
you're not sympathetic for him at all. At least I wasn't. And,
I never have, man. So,
Yeah, I just maybe it's just me.
nope.
I
I
know
hear
other
you.
people didn't like it as much as the first one, though.
Yeah, no, it's not generally liked as much as the first one. I guess I'm so indifferent to the character. I just don't care what they do with him outside of a movie. So
It
when
didn't
I see a
help.
movie, yeah,
The opening scene was probably the funniest bits in the whole movie.
yeah, that hurts anytime because the opening, yeah, the James Bond credits after
Yeah, them
the
go
yeah, the
around
opening
and
scene,
killing
yeah,
a bunch of people and shit.
that was funny. Yeah, then you got those crazy James Bond credits were hilarious. After that, yeah, and of course seeing Juggernaut was kind of fun, I guess.
Yeah, it's
I didn't mind the Juggernaut scenes in that, despite my issues with the sequel. I didn't mind the Juggernaut stuff. I actually thought that was one of the better parts. I felt like Josh Brolin was very average as Cable, very underwhelming.
Yes.
I was
Yeah.
like, wow, how did you knock it out of the park as Thanos, but you did the near opposite with Cable? Like, I didn't understand that, and I was like, okay.
they should have got that guy from Avatar to play Cable anyway.
Who? Oh yeah,
Speaking of
Stephen
Avatar.
Lang. Yeah, that guy.
Yeah,
Sam-
Stephen Lang. Yeah.
That guy's a great.
Oh,
actor.
right. Thought you meant Sam Worthington for a minute.
Oh fuck no.
I
No, I
thought,
hear
wait,
you, though.
what?
Stephen Lang is brilliant.
Lang's great, yeah.
He was
yeah,
great
but,
as Stone
I think he
Cold
would have been
Jackson.
better. Because, I mean, if
Is
he would have
it-
been 10, 20 years younger, maybe Tommy Lee Jones, but, like, I was thinking, like, Steve Lang.
Yeah.
or-
Lang's great.
And Domino was, like, at best. It seemed like a lot of the side characters were kind of...
Yeah, the Rob Liefeld joke was funny.
There was a few decent jokes in there. I mean, don't get me wrong. I did laugh. I did like it, but...
yeah, it was
The
very
Green
flat
Lantern joke
compared
was
to the-
funny. The Green
I
Lantern.
should
joke
go
was
Oh
back
funny.
yeah,
to
that was
Oh, the end
great.
credits
The
bit
Green
was probably
Lantern
one of the best
dig.
bits.
That was great.
I should go back and rewatch it.
It was flat compared to the first one. It was
That's
a
what
lot
I'm
yeah.
saying. There was just something about it that I was just disappointed. I remember being disappointed when I left the movie. I remember when we did our review, I think I liked it the least, even though nobody really said it was better than the first one or liked it all that much, it seemed like on the panel. I mean, they liked it, but it wasn't like huge
I
praise
guess I don't
about
really
it.
like either one that much, to be honest with you. But I thought,
Oh, I loved the first one. The
Did
first one was kind of a surprise to me.
It was a surprise
Right.
to me, and I absolutely came out of that thinking, "What?
Because,
That was
like
great."
you, Klobby, I never really had an affinity for the character Deadpool
Me
one
either.
way or the other.
me, I
So
have
to
nothing
me, it was
for
just kind of like, whatever. Go
him. Yeah,
check it out.
I got nothing for him in the comics. Anything.
Honestly, I think at that time, like my girlfriend just wanted to go because it was the new Ryan Reynolds movie, and I'm like, yeah, I'll go see it because Deadpool. You
Well,
know.
he is a national treasure here in Canada.
I don't even think I expected it to be that big of a movie when it came out.
No one did. I don't think.
I didn't. I had no expectations for it, and again, it's Ryan Reynolds. I'll watch it, and I thought that was so freaking good.
I think the advertising really sold me on it. That was the big thing. Like,
yeah.
I've said that a few times now.
They're good at advertising these movies.
Well, and this too
really
was a
good.
great teaser trailer. This is one of the best teaser trailers I've seen all year. Didn't have to see one scene from the movie. It doesn't matter. They actually used to do trailers like this all the time. And that's what I said I loved about Deadpool's advertising campaign. And the second film, in fact, the second film had a better advertising campaign than the movie was. I think I said that in the review.
This latest trailer reminded me of the old Albert Brooks movie trailers. Do you remember those in the 70s?
Yeah.
Or even like Hitchcock used to do this exact same thing. Every one of his trailers was him talking. He wouldn't show you any parts of the movie because his whole thing was keeping shit secret, right? So he would play along with the audience and do that kind of thing. And yeah, I mean, and Albert Brooks did it too, like you said. Script. There's a few other people who've done it.
He did a brilliant one about 3D movies. It was hysterical.
I think I know the one you're talking about.
I think the Deadpool musical is better than both of them. It was a fan film, but actually was pretty funny.
I have not seen.
I'm surprised that they haven't thought to do that yet.
I've always enjoyed the repartee between Reynolds and Jackman when they do their own live stuff. Like Jackman's tour that he did recently, a few years ago, he had cameo appearances by Ryan Reynolds on screen and mocking each other. They've got that long running standing thing where they have a go at each other. It's really it's quite funny.
Well, and they could amp that up a little bit in this by kind of doing like they could run with this whole idea that he ran out of ideas, and like every trailer is like you see like a build up to whatever it is with him and Hugh Jackman doing whatever, and like the first one could be like Deadpool the musical because that's what kind of gave me the idea, because Hugh Jackman's all into musicals and shit, and then he's like cut, we can't do this is stupid. And he was like, well, I told you I wasn't going to do this unless we did something different and that played to all to my talents and all this shit like that. He's like, yeah, but it's just not working. It's like too obvious and on the nose. And then the next one could be like something totally different. Just like everyone's like a totally different genre until we finally get to the actual trailer. That'd be kind of funny, I think. But
I wouldn't be surprised if there was something like that.
Yeah, I think it'd be kind of funny.
They do work well together as this repartee they've got going from a distance in various things is pretty good.
Yeah, I think it could work. I can't wait to see more from this. Like I said, in fact, I hope this time around the movie's as good as the campaign, but we'll see. I know Six, you've never seen the first two. You said.
Really?
I have not. I have never seen a Deadpool movie. In fact, when this news dropped, when this news dropped, I thought, oh, maybe I can bang out one of them. And I started watching it, and I was like, I don't have time for this. I got other stuff I have to be working on. So I watched maybe the first 5 minutes. So probably tonight I'll finish it.
Did the first 5 minutes?
I think you might like the first one at the least.
Yeah. I tend to not watch R-rated movies, just in general.
Oh, there's a lot of R-rated shit.
This movie's R-rated.
It may not be the movie for you then. It may not be the movie for you if you don't.
It might not be. I might just turn it off. But
let me put it to you this way: there's a scene where somebody gets pegged.
Mainly
unusual in a movie.
For violence, mainly, or
I might just close my eyes.
There's some violence too.
If there's some violence that bothers you, you definitely don't want to be watching either one of those movies.
Yeah, I don't like graphic violence.
Don't watch.
It's kind of over the top violence.
Yes, it's cartoony, but it's
realistic enough.
Yeah. I'm gonna try it. I love superhero movies.
But the opening credits are hilarious in the first one. I mean, again, great stuff.
I like the first one though. I think it has more going for it.
And I love Wolverine. I'm a big fan of his. I've been a fan of his since 2000 when the first one X-Men came out? When we first saw him?
2000. July 2000. I remember when it came out. Yeah.
It was 2000.
At the time, you got when you saw it opening weekend, they gave you an X-Men comic book for seeing at the local theater I was at the time. I was like, man.
I just must remember seeing the trailer in 99.
But then Storm had the absolute worst line in that movie in the history of ever.
God. Well, and the problem with that is I found out later on, because I agree with you, Nick. It's what happens to a toad when it gets struck by lightning, the same thing that happens to everything else. I guess that the problem with that is they cut out the setup. There's a bit that sets that whole thing up that it's supposed to make more sense, because I can't remember something. She does something and they crack a joke about something getting struck by lightning in the scene, and I can't remember what happened now. I read about it a while back. It's a deleted scene, and it sets up the whole fucking saying. So it's like in the movie itself, it makes no goddamn sense. So, and yeah, it could very well be that the line sucked, period, but it doesn't help that we don't have the context either. So it makes it even worse if you actually.
So hard when I saw that line. I'm like, wow, that is absolutely terrible.
Well, Halle Berry was one of the worst casting choices for Storm.
Oh, she was terrible, Storm. Terrible. Like, it was funny because I always knew, like, I remember being like a kid at like 7 years old with my Mickey Mouse voice, like, oh boy, I'll bet you one day Patrick Stewart's gonna be Professor Xavier. And then it eventually happened, of course. I'm like, because he's the only guy that came to mind for me.
Marvel Comics predicted that.
Oh, did they really?
Remember Marvels by Kurt Busiek and Alex Ross? Ross used like different actors for his models, and he used Patrick Stewart for Professor X in Marvels #2.
You're right. I remember being a kid, and one of the older kids at a comic shop told me about that. I was like,
he should play Professor X. Look at him, and there he goes.
Because he's a bald actor. That's the only reason.
Right. That's pretty much it. He was the only famous. There was no Telly Savalas around anymore to be the famous bald actor. No Yul Brynner anymore. So he was the one.
Now I can't find the actual thing, but I guess it has something to do with like in the scene. There's a fight between those two before that, and he says a line to her that's similar to that. Like, and I can't remember. I can't find the actual line, but that's what it was.
Was it something about getting stuck with goo?
It's something to do. You know what happens to a person when they get like ate by a reptile or something? It's something along those lines. I remember, and he's like, it's the same thing that happens to everything else. So like her comeback to him later on was, you know what happens to when a toad gets struck by, because that's, again, it may not be the smartest fucking thing to say in the end, but even without
there's some editing going on, what you're saying,
it's dumber than it would have been to begin with. Yeah.
Is that a Toad reference to the character Toad?
Yes. Character Toad.
Yeah. See, in the earlier scenes, because there was a bunch of scenes. If you go back, there's a bunch that got chopped out of that. Each one of the X-Men gets separated, so then they each end up fighting off against one of the other bad guys in a scene. So her and Toad faced off each other before that fight, and there was something he said to her, and that was her comeback to him, because he like whooped her ass in that scene or whatever kind of thing.
Yeah,
however it was, took her by surprise or whatever it was. And
played by Ray Park, and he looked nothing like the comic book version.
No,
a lot of them did it. I remember they were taking digs at the suits. Like I remember there's some joke where Cyclops like, what, you want to like wear like yellow spandex or some shit?
Yeah, he did. Yeah, it's better than the stupid black motocross outfit you got.
Well, I mean, that's what a gay man thinks is less gay in the late 90s, early 2000s.
No one said it had to be spandex either. So it just looked better than the crap they had.
And X2 is better filmed. Yes.
Yeah, well, can't get much worse.
Oh, wow. You're one of those, huh? I had a friend like that before. He hated them all. He's like, I don't care. They're not like the comics.
I don't like any of the X-Men movies at all.
I'm like, wow, okay.
I like Hugh Jackman. I don't mind that he's not exactly the way the build that the character should be from the comic. He's great. There's some good, but yeah, X2 is not a horrible movie, but for the most part, it's just, I don't like any of them. None of the X-Men movies ever did anything for me.
That's fair.
Just don't care.
Member chats, we got a few.
I was going to say, they definitely have to let Jackman have a song and dance number in Deadpool 3 then.
Well, there you go.
If not, at least in one of the trailers, that's what I was saying, yeah.
They got to do something like that, yeah.
Thomas Mess has been a member for 4 months. Kenneth LeRock has been a member for 16. Then we got 70s Rock Fan, who's also on the panel, who's been a member for 18.
What a cheap bugger.
Valiant Renegade. I think you have the link, my friend, if you're able to jump in. You've been a member for 18 months at the Congo level. So I have chats and stuff.
I have an answer from Mrs. Fluce. She said, who doesn't love Hugh Jackman? Did you ever watch Scrubs? And Hugh Jackman.
Gonzalo
Dr. Cox hated Hugh Jackman.
He also managed to get a major CBS show cancelled after one episode.
Who?
Well,
Jackman?
He didn't, but he was in it. Yeah. I don't remember Viva Laughlin? Viva
Oh,
Laughlin?
hey, I
It was
see Jerry in the
It was a
chat.
musical. They got cancelled after one episode.
Jerry's in the chat. Gary with a J.
Yeah.
I'll have to see about, let
Jerry.
me get through these super
Gary.
chats and maybe I'll send you the link here, Gary.
If you're good.
We've got because we had Brown Bull and a few others in the chat earlier too. We also got Gonzalo Bergali, who's been a member for 11 months and says Congo. Thank you. Then we got Daryl Brewer, who's been a member for 15 months. That's a maximum effort puppy level. Then we've got Muslim Uncle, who's been a member for 8 months at the minimum effort puppy level. Then we got Warwolf, who's been a member for 16 months at the minimum effort puppy level. And finally, we have a member chat from the one, the only. You know him, you love him. Get ready, kids. That's right. Thunderheart. And he says hey, happy birthday. It's his 12-month anniversary. There you go, at the maximum effort puppy level. I love that Hugh is
What am
eating an
I
apple.
missing?
Huh?
Hey, Keely.
What happened?
Sorry, I thought it was. I'm sorry.
You thought you were muted? Okay. It says, I love your Hugh. I love that Hugh is eating an apple. The director and said, Hugh, I want to eat an apple so everyone knows Wolverine is still an asshole. I don't know if that's true, but okay. And then on that note, Joe's Atmosphere says, I hate Deadpool in the comics, but I love the movies. There you go.
Joe.
Kitty Bear says, watch The Imperfects, Tom. Yes, I loved it, especially the part where the Mogwai turned into a gremlin. Then we got Tina Bojan, who says, I continue to defend the MCU as long as I get more Deadpool, Loki, Moon Knight, and Jessica Jones. Well, the latter may be in question.
Yeah, well,
That one I know.
as much as I hate Moon Knight, if she wants it that bad, I'll suffer through it.
She's one of the only
The
ones
Layla
besides,
experience.
Because Tina's nice.
because they said for sure they're not.
Tina's a very nice lady.
They're not getting back what's his face who played Iron Fist, but Luke Cage and Jessica Jones have kind of been up in the air.
They're not going to happen, probably. I don't think so.
Yeah, I don't really think they fit in.
Loki's
too
happening,
much.
unfortunately, but
Luke
Yeah,
Cage,
Loki's
I heard they
about
might
Moon Knight.
recast.
Hmm?
I heard a rumor they might recast Luke Cage.
oh no, huh? That guy was good.
That's
The
weird.
show wasn't
Yeah,
that
I
good.
actually like
Yeah.
that
The
actor.
show wasn't that good, but he was really good.
No,
I
he
mean,
was
if he
very
does
well
come back,
cast.
He's gonna
They
be
should have
25%
trimmed that down
different.
3 or 4 episodes, and they could have had a much more tighter, cohesive story. But
Had a
they,
terrible ending,
like
too.
Netflix, wanted to just have everything be 13 episodes, all way over an hour each. Very unnecessary. They could have done that in 10 episodes, and it would have been a lot better. But you know, it's unfortunate because I really liked that actor too. Like he sounded like what I could have like envisioned in my head of a Luke Cage. He definitely was
He was great.
acting
I
the
love
part. Yeah, he was.
Well,
Sure
from
wasn't that
from
good.
what I heard, or I was told, however you want to put it, it had less to do with anything to do with the actor himself, and more to do with the character being attached to that version of Jessica Jones. From what I heard.
I enjoyed
But-
Jessica Jones season 1. I obviously
didn't hate
David
it
Tennant
either.
was great.
David Tennant.
But I guess
kinda
it's one of Feige's least favorites.
that third season was unwatchable. Second season was unwatchable. Third was
Yo, it was. It was
Honestly, I don't even know
absolutely
if I watched
absolute
it.
filth. It's absolute filth.
oh so bad.
Now,
I only
Moon
ever saw the
Knight,
first season.
Moon Knight should have been a freaking grand slam if there to be one. And that show was just about setting up Layla's character more
You
than
mean
Moon
Cuck
Knight's
I hate that.
character.
Cuck Knight. Yeah, it was
Oh
so
yeah,
bad.
he was Soy Knight because he's supposed to be Stephen Grant's supposed to be more like a Bruce Wayne type of
I think I made
personality.
it
And they
through
gave him
3
the absolute
episodes.
reverse of that. The
I
absolute
didn't even get
reverse.
to the worst shit.
Oh, dude, I couldn't even finish it. I was like, wow. And then I saw all the photos come the last episode. I'm like, oh, here we go again.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, there's so many of these shows should have been a home run, and instead they've all struck out. It's
Some not even there. I can't even think of one that's been a double even yet. Like
yeah,
you know, like,
yeah, they've not even managed
like
to hit.
Hawkeye comes the closest, but that motherfucker got tagged out at home base. Like it was on the way there. It was like he might actually make it home. Nope. It did too, right up until that very, very end. Because I'm still into Hawkeye. I was like, you know what? This is not the worst one, and I don't mind this chick.
Well, the idea was not bad to have a whole "I'll be home for Christmas" type of thing. It's a familiar trope. You could do a very well modern setting on with New York City and the Marvel universe on Christmas time. It's a great idea of, hey, I gotta get back to my family.
But got stuck in the Christmas tree, for God's sake.
And of course
that was the last episode though.
Yeah, the overemphasization of Echo. Like, I was just like,
oh,
dude, that's what I mean. That last episode is where the worst of the shit is. Because before that, what's her face? She's not a Mary Sue.
No, Kate's fine.
Kate Bishop, she loves Kate Hawkeye. I don't like how beat up they have him, but at least it's realistic in a sense. Like, this motherfucker's been through hell and back. Of course he's gonna be a little fucked up. Yeah. And I mean, we know they're passing the torch. It could have been a much worse situation, but it was that last fucking episode where everything just went completely off the rails.
Yeah, she was fine. Unlike her comic book counterpart, where she was absolutely she was like She-Hulk, Captain Marvel levels of insufferable. But in this show, she actually was a lot cooler. Like, she was actually fine. Like, I didn't mind her at times. So it's
a big part of it was the actress, I think, and then the other half is the writing. They managed to make her decent in most of the writing until the very end. That's the problem.
And nothing. I'm sorry, my brain scrambled.
No, that's all right. Joe's Atmosphere says X-Men was the first date for me for Foxy and I. Well, that's awesome. That means you guys have been together now for over 20 years. Awesome sauce. Then we got Adam Wolford here who says, I just saw the trailer. LOL, looking forward to it. Glad to hear it. Then we got another member milestone from Mr. Tickle Trunk. How you doing, buddy? Who's been a member for 16 months at the minimum effort puppy level. Thank you for that. We got E. Clay Thomason, who's been a member for 14 months at the maximum effort puppy level and says, I'm Tom's member. I'm going for. Whoops. Warwolf says, hey, going to New York Comic Con next week. Well, there you go. If anybody's in New York, check it out.
Have fun.
Dara Moose. Yeah, I'm not going to New
York. You're not?
I won't go to fucking Chicago, man. Dara Moose says, now that Disney has Deadpool, right, Chirac, do you think they'll have him go after his ethereal love, Mistress Death? Great to see Hugh come back for this one. Maybe, but at this point, what difference does it make? Because then you can't have the whole thing with Thanos, I guess. But, what do you think, guys? Clobby, let's start with you since you're the comic book dude.
Well, do you think they'll have him go after his ethereal? No. I don't think they'll do that. I don't think they'll bring Morena back. You mean Morena? Baccarin?
Well,
what's the matter?
You try to do the Baccarin now.
No, I think they're talking about he gets with Mistress Death in the comics.
Okay, I didn't hear the question. Did you ask me a question? Because my whole,
I just wondered about it's the one that's on screen, but
now Disney has Deadpool. Sorry about that. I think they'll have him go after his ethereal love, Mistress Death. Great. No, I don't. I don't think they could do anything like that at all. I mean,
I just said, I don't think there's anywhere to go with it now.
I thought there was a question you asked. I'm sorry.
It's all right.
I thought it was just. I didn't hear the whole thing.
No, unless they find
looked at it.
Yeah, I don't know. What do you think, Nick? You're another comic.
Not betting on it at all, but boy, would I love to be wrong. Because don't get me wrong, I'm still one of those guys who really enjoys Infinity War and to some extent Endgame. But there's one opportunity they missed on besides Adam Warlock. It was Mistress Death, and it would be nice to see her done, but also be done accurately. So personally, if they're a doer accurately. If they're not, then just don't do it, period. Either way, I'm not emotionally attached. This is just something that I'll probably see it when it comes out, and I hope that will be good, but I won't have any investment the way I did, as of recent years.
Script, you familiar with the...
Yeah, they're not going to do anything like that.
The fact that they didn't use her as a second tier with regards to Thanos' motivation in Infinity War is a tragic misstep. Because I like the idea of the fact that, I want to, do it to save, half the universe. But there's also this personal gain I get, which is I impress this chick I really, really want. And I'm like, that's where you actually make him less of a sympathetic villain and more of a tyrant-like villain.
Yep.
It was,
and the fact they missed that is such a waste.
Yeah, I hate what they did with Thanos' motivation and all. It was so garbage. And yeah, the whole Mistress Death thing would have been so much better. But
I don't know. I always looked at it as he did it for a piece of pussy. That's what I always like.
Well, yeah, and men do crazy things for women. Think about that. Men do crazy things for women.
He's the mad tyrant.
I mean, it would have made him a better villain in hindsight. You're not wrong. But at that point, the Marvel Universe was still firing on all cylinders, so I didn't mind it.
He just wants to wipe out everything. There's no altruism about it.
Brian, Six, anything to add to that? I know you're
I'm not. I wouldn't claim to be completely up on the backstories in these, but could it be a possible plot be that Lady Death, Mistress Death, she can never have Deadpool because he can't die. So this leads her to try and bring back Thanos in order to try and kill Deadpool. Could that work? So Thanos could be resurrected. But the only way that would work is if he had the Infinity Gauntlet, probably. Sorry, you're fading out a bit. I don't know. As I say, I don't know the backstory that much, but from what I understand, she's had relationships with both. Is that right? And she wants Deadpool, but she can never have him. She can never have him because he can't die. But maybe she feels that Thanos, one of her other paramours, could kill him. So she resurrects Thanos and brings him back to the MCU as a result.
And you'd have to be reading a lot of current, any Deadpool comics, actually, to know a lot of that stuff. And does anyone here read Deadpool comics? I mean,
no,
I haven't read a Deadpool comic.
I read summaries of them.
I never liked him and never read his comics, even when he was, But
if the MCU wanted to try and resurrect Thanos, this might be a way to do it by using
what
Deadpool.
I said was,
I think they've already ruined him.
Yeah, you know, they have. He'd have to have the Infinity Gauntlet though to be able to kill Deadpool. Otherwise, there's no way.
And Clobby, I'm not suggesting that any of this is good.
No, I hear you, brother.
I'm trying to think the way that Marvel thinks these days.
Now, I want to recommend for the chat. If you want a good comic book run of Deadpool before I got absolutely fatigued, I would say the Joe Kelly run is a good read. I feel like, obviously, like I said, She-Hulk did the fourth wall way better than he ever did, but it's still entertaining read. The Joe Kelly run, look that up if you want a good Deadpool comic to get into. And that was before they started putting everything with Deadpool, because at that time when Kelly's doing his book, it was everything had Wolverine. So this is before he got oversaturated. So I'm just just recommending a solid book.
Fans of the comic do like that the Kelly run the best. So yes.
All right. Is my mic sounding better now? I turned off my other thing.
Sir.
That's a little better, yeah.
I just went back to the straight mic. Hopefully that'll fix it for the remainder of the show.
We went super straight mic?
I don't. So I don't have any more sound effects.
You're suddenly entering my soul. Did y'all hear that? He got louder and.
Mega J says, I hope throughout this movie, Deadpool will be making fun of the MCU, Marvel Studios, and Disney. Considering he brought it up already in the trailer, I bet.
It's like shooting fish in a barrel.
Easy.
I would hope so. That'd be a fun thing to see.
I hope so. Then we got Magitech Megs. How you doing? Who gifted 5 Midnight's Edge After Dark memberships. Thank you so much to Joseph Dredd, Andre Enrico, Richard Diaz, Justin Norris, and Dante TEZ. Congratulations and thank you so much for that, Magitech Mags. We appreciate the support. Jack White says, did you get the emails I sent you? I haven't had a chance to check my email today, actually, Jack. But I have gotten the more recent ones you have sent me before. I'd have to check the ones on today's note. I just hadn't had a chance to get to them yet. Then we got Jeremiah Hembry, who says, I understand your complaints about Moon Knight, but I'm glad that you guys show because he's a B-lister in the comics and Justin going to show alone. And just going to show alone. And I love the song that I went with it without love. I'm confused. Sorry.
They did play it in one of the episodes, I believe.
Oh, okay. See, I quit watching it after like the second or third episode.
I'm not sure. I can't remember which episode it was now, but I think they did play that in one of the episodes. One of the 6 episodes. And the fact I can remember anything from any of those episodes, I guess I'm doing good.
Yeah. So basically, Jeremiah is saying I think he enjoyed the show, which is fine. I'm not saying, you're
it's not illegal
wrong for not liking it or for liking it or whatever. It just
Perhaps
wasn't
the
like
song could have been called "Man Without Story."
What about Man Without a Face? That would have made more sense.
Man Without a Face would have been a great choice. Yeah.
He hardly had any story. It was all about Layla.
He was
and
without
Layla
something, all right.
Very annoying.
Her eyes
and
without
then,
a face. That's the song I was thinking of.
It was more about validating her.
He was
and
without a couple of things, all right.
Stephen Grant had Stephen Grant was an uber bitch, which he's supposed to be the absolute opposite of that. And then they made that the main personality when it should have been Mark Spector. I mean, I can look past that part, but when they made Stephen Grant and made him the complete opposite, that was absolutely unnecessary. And oh boy, CGing that suit was a terrible.
Jake Lockley for 2 seconds at the end.
That suit was kind of what turned me off too, besides just the story in general.
Oh,
but yeah.
so
Thank you for that, Jeremiah, though. Willie the Epic Monkey King is in the house. He gifted one Midnight's Edge membership to Dr. Dragon. Congratulations, Dr. Dragon. And thank you, Willie. We appreciate that. Mr. Tickle Trunk, who's been a member for 1 year, gifted 5 Midnight's Edge After Dark memberships to Forgotten Prime, Donnie Pearson, The Wardroom, Michael Carney, and Joey. Congratulations, guys, and thank you so much, Mr. Tickle Trunk. We appreciate that. Jack White says the trailer for the readaptation of manga Rurouni Kenshin got released this past Sunday. It looks cool, and it starts next year. Well, there you go. Fans of the manga Rurouni Macaroni Kenshin. I don't know. I can't say that.
Macaroni
Kenshin. Rurouni. I can't do it. Sorry, I was going to try, but they better not.
Is it Rurouni?
But I'm always jealous of you manga people because you get good stuff. You get good adaptations to film, and some of those schmucks who like the American crap don't get that often. So good for you.
Looks like Shrap's a fan. There you go. Yeah. And then we got Waltman, who says the only thing to watch right now are the new episodes of Soyless Mac show from Dame Pezos. He's back and has meltdowns from 2020 to 2022. Oh, Lord. I'm not going to comment. Nicholas Horton says having the original Infinity War comics, another missed opportunity is not using Adam Warlock. Yeah.
Oh God,
isn't he supposed to be finally coming in?
They're about to use him. It's going to be so. Oh.
Now it's too late. It's too late to use him. Like they doesn't
teased
make
him at
sense
the end of Guardians 2, but
they did, and I thought they were going to put him in Infinity War because that was the perfect setup with that scene. That was a great setup to get him in right in time for Infinity War, and then it never happened.
Oh, so
what the?
They've wasted a lot of opportunities with these movies. A lot of them.
Go read the Adam Warlock comics, people. Seriously, Jim Starlin. It's amazing. Trust me on it. I won't shut up to Claudia about it.
Oh, it's great, man. We'll review it one day, buddy.
Oh, we will, and it will be huge.
Yeah.
You said huge. Jesus Davila says pumpkin and thumbs up. So he's going to stick his thumb in a pumpkin. Good to know. No, I'm just kidding. I think he's saying Halloween time. Yes, indeed. It is. Thumbs up. The Halloween trailer. That's a good segue. Did everybody get a chance to watch the new Halloween Ends trailer?
September.
Why?
Script? Anybody other than Script?
Halloween's End?
You mean like
the trailer.
A new you mean a trailer?
Yeah.
A new Halloween movie? There you go.
It looks
pretty good.
Okay. I wish they would just be more honest and call it Halloween Ends ... for now.
Halloween ends again. Halloween ends the return.
The return of
Halloween ends again. Halloween ends again. Like,
I like the return of the end is better.
Return of the end.
Well, that's why I knew it was dumb when they what was it, Resident Evil, when they named it the final chapter. I'm like, bullshit, you're gonna reboot that. It's not the final chapter.
And since it's a part 2 as well, it's part 2 of the end, really.
Anytime any franchise says the final chapter, you know they're full of shit.
That's right. There's just no killing some villains.
We found that out early on with Friday the 13th.
Yeah.
Like,
I remember. Yeah, the
final chapter just doesn't mean shit. The final chapter of this storyline going into another storyline that they fuck up on just to go back to the original storyline, which seems to be horror's MO for the most part.
Dude, then they improved it by taking Jason to space.
In space.
Like, Jason, what are you doing?
Actually, that was Tim Curry.
Are they doing Jason versus aliens? Jason's versus Predator next or something? Or
that I would watch.
That would be worth
actually watch that.
That would be fucking sweet.
Even I'd watch that.
Predator
that got my
his match.
Even I would watch that.
I like David Rayner's quote, Halloween ends the next generation.
Until next year.
You know what's the best Jason scene that wasn't in a Jason movie? In The Cable Guy, when Jim Carrey was taunting Matthew Broderick, and he's like, he used that Field of Dreams line, if you build it, he will come. Do you remember that? It was in Matthew Broderick's stream in Cable Guy. Absolutely hilarious scene. That was like a dark comedy.
I think the Predator's afraid of Jason, though, to be honest.
That's what I'm saying. He finally would have met his match.
He's
like,
chicken.
He can't kill it.
He's seen the movies. He's like, no, I'm not messing with this guy.
I'd like to see Jason represented in. Jason should be arrested and represented in court by She-Hulk.
Actually, he just needs Freddy Krueger's lawyer who'll get off easy.
That I would watch.
He is a supervillain. Really?
Yeah.
Kind of.
Yeah, exactly.
He's for so.
I would totally watch a fucking Jason versus Predator movie.
Yeah, that should do that.
Oh god, yeah.
Predator would lose.
He wouldn't know what to do.
Yep.
And then the Predator would be freaked out because he'd like be chasing him, and the next thing you know, he'd lose him, and then he's right behind him. He'd like, how the fuck did he do that?
This dude's defying physics. What the hell? He's supposed to be just a
this
man.
guy's defining physics. What the hell?
How do I run at super speed and I turn around and he's right there? What the hell?
I haven't seen this guy pick up his pace at all.
I get faster, he gets slower with his walk, and yet he somehow catches up. Explain that logic.
Well, there was a Freddy versus Jason comic, you know.
Yeah, they did the Freddy versus Ash versus
and
Jason.
Ash, that was actually the Ash one was kind of funny.
Well, it was meant to be the next script, but they couldn't get the rights to use
that would have been great.
Yeah.
Ash and Freddy and.
But in the comics, it was a little easier to get the rights to it. But yeah, so 6, you said you found it pretty frightening.
Yeah, it was pretty scary when right at the beginning of the trailer, the hand reaches out and grabs him by the throat. That was, I was startled. I think it looks really good. But I love everything Halloween except for Halloween 3 because that was a piece of trash.
Here we go.
Oh yeah.
So I'm excited for this. I don't know if I'm going to see it in the theater or not. I was planning on it, but it looks fucking terrifying. So maybe I won't.
Peacock, it's only $5.
I will probably get dragged into it by Stella to see it. She really likes the two new movies, so I'm like, as long as there's popcorn with a self-serve extra butter station, I'm good. I will go. Just make sure if that theater doesn't have a self-serve station, we ain't going to that theater. That's how I measure my business for theaters. Do you have a self-serve extra butter station?
That's right. Never been the same since Donald Pleasance died, honestly.
Oh, trust me. There are ones that have not had it, and they should.
That's what I thought was kind of cool with getting him in the flashback in the last one. And I get it. A lot of people hated that last movie, but I loved it for all the wrong reasons. Because to me, it was just like every other 80s horror movie. Like everything people were complaining about, like, yeah, that's what's wrong with every fucking slasher film in the 80s. They're constantly saying, evil's going to die tonight. That's the same kind of shit they say through every other one of those other movies.
Is it just me, though, that is Jamie Lee Curtis starting to look like Melissa McBride from The Walking Dead? I mean, I can't tell them apart now.
I can't tell she's doing that on purpose or if that's just how she actually looks at this point. Because that's the thing, is even in like the last couple of years, she looked pretty damn good for her age. I think she's making herself look as ragged as she is.
I think so. At first I thought it was Melissa McBride.
I thought it was Gary with a J.
Gary. No, he's got a bigger cleavage than
Gary.
Much bigger, thank you.
Hey, sir, how are you?
What up?
I mean, I guess the concept of her saying like he won't quit unless I die, sure, but at this point, I'm still not sure why we just didn't pick up where things left off with H2O. Whatever. They haven't convinced me of that yet. That's the only thing they've really failed to do outside of a few other things at this point. Otherwise, I'm just like, I'm not going to be as mean to these movies as I was that first one when it first came out, because this is like, how many other movies can you say this far into it they're actually putting this much effort into it, and at least trying.
I really wouldn't put it as effort though, buddy. Come on. It's like they're not even trying.
Hacking it out.
No. Halloween Resurrection was not even trying.
No,
Okay.
The way I see this is,
motherfucker.
at least it's a paycheck for Carpenter for all the shitting on he got from Hollywood.
Well, there's that.
That's true. That is true, yes.
And he's getting to do the soundtrack and a few other things. There's elements to it I do enjoy, but it's also like at this point, Halloween's a choose your own fucking adventure. And it's like you got 7 different fucking timelines to choose from. So,
oh, geez, everybody's saying hi to me in the chat. Hey, guys.
I wonder if the director and producers go do something like this.
I only see one person
Hey
do it.
Siri, write me a new Halloween script. Because it's like a cut and paste. Throw it all in the. It's like let's pull out some lines from the hat that we've cut and pasted.
Oh, I would definitely have been able to write him a better trilogy than this.
Yeah.
And I'm not even a professional writer.
Yeah, I don't know why they bragged about it, and I agree. I think you would have written a far better one. Script Doctor definitely would have.
If I liked that type of the genre, yeah, I would do my research and knock the hell out of that. Absolutely.
Yeah.
But because a lot of it is kind of where I would have went, but I wouldn't have disregarded some of the other sequels. Yeah, I would have just brought Josh Hartnett back instead of the daughter. I've just made it that. But anyway, Jack White says it's never too late to get into anime and manga. Well, if it's not your style, it is. But yeah, I hear you.
Yep. If you get into it, there's plenty of it there, though.
Absolutely.
Yeah, for me, I've never been a big fan of those, but I find specific properties I like in them. But generally speaking, I can't consume too much of it. It's not
That's kind of where
my
I'm
thing.
at,
yeah, it's just specific things.
Yeah,
Yep.
you save that room in your brain for prog rock.
That's right. Yeah. There's too many symphonic triple albums up there first. And it's the attic theory. I can only, if I have to put something up there, I have to take something else out. There's only so much room up there.
I have that problem. Would you say 6?
People keep saying that I just haven't seen the right anime yet, but I haven't seen 1 second of any anime ever that has even remotely appealed to me. So I think it's just not.
You just must not be into the style. That's kind of my thing
Kind
too.
of there too. Yeah.
Well, a lot of anime, the dialogue, whether it's with bad English translation, and in some cases that's why I watch it with just the subtitles, it reminds me of the old Gary Anderson Thunderbirds shows where it's so technical and meandering.
Thank you,
that it actually
script.
doesn't really knock out the story that you really want it to.
Right.
Although my favorite anime is kind of like just the Gundam series, and I like watching that just because the politics in it are really cool, and the Gundam designs and the mobile suits are really cool. That's really about it.
Vertical.
I like
Thank you for
Inspector
calling him
Gadget.
Gary Anderson.
Fun fact that Gary has modeled his entire life on brains from Thunderbirds.
It's true. How do you know that? Get out of my head, Brian.
Marionation.
Fuck.
He loves that marionation.
That's right. He is brains.
Super Marionation, motherfucker.
Marionation is go. You were the fan mag from the 70s. Super Marionation is go, Sig. Yeah.
Oh yeah,
America.
I grew up with that shit.
Tina asked if we seen the MCU Halloween special trailer. No, I didn't know there was one.
Oh, the Werewolf by Night.
By
Yeah, I
night.
saw that.
Yeah.
Oh, the Werewolf by Night. Yeah, I saw
Man
that.
Thing's supposed to be in it. I think in Werewolf by Night. They say.
Oh, if that's what it is, yes.
Thing.
I didn't. I just report the name. I didn't make it up.
It
I
looks
know.
interesting,
That
but
was
not
nuts.
like interesting enough for me to be like, oh, I gotta see that. But I wasn't quite sure what it was. It left me scratching my head more than anything. Anybody else?
I
see
wasn't
it?
excited about that. No, I'm not going to watch it. I wasn't excited by that trailer at all.
Yeah.
I'm just I'm not really interested. And, if I hear enough good opinions, I mean, yeah, I know I should really make up my own opinion. I agree, but just nowadays I've been burned so much that, and my time is very limited when I see movies or TV, and that the rare time I do get time to watch a movie, I'll catch like a Beavis and Butthead or a movie I gotta get rewatched for Toxic Tuesday. So if I'm gonna spend that additional time, I gotta make it valuable and worth my time because.
Yeah.
I'm tired of getting burnt. So
wait a minute. Am I Beavis and my Butthead? What difference does it make? No, so unless it's that thing, yeah, I'm not looking too forward to it, Tina, unless there's something completely otherwise that I'm not aware of. Yeah. Because they showed that at the
D23. Unless there's a new trailer or something. I haven't seen one.
Yeah.
Well, I do have to say, I just watched before joining you, Tom. I watched the new Deadpool teaser trailer. Which is just...
and what'd you think of that?
I fucking loved it. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, it was hilarious.
Hugh Jackman walking in behind him and going up the stairs. That was fucking awesome. And it made me wonder, oh shit, he's in Hugh Jackman's house. That's not his place.
Well, it's not his house. It's the set of the movie that they're both working on right now.
Is that what it is? Okay.
Yeah, it's what script stuff.
It just felt like he was in Hugh Jackman's house. Like
I just happened to work out just perfectly. Yeah.
That would be quite funny, actually. Yes.
But Willie says Warlock is in Guardians of the Galaxy 3. Yes, that's what I thought. Hi, Tom. 6 script panel and chat. I would love to see Jason versus Superman. That would kick ass. That might be one of the few people who could actually give Jason a fight for his money. The other one. Hey, Willie. The other one I would love to see is Godzilla versus Jason.
Godzilla just get really irritated that he keeps stepping on him, setting him on fire by breathing fire on him, and he's still standing. He's like, "Oh, what the fuck? Don't you this guy?"
Weight. Yeah, there's a slight weight difference there, though.
Doesn't matter. Jason would figure it out. I'm still putting my money on Jason.
Yeah. I guess some people are if he were in the DC universe, Jason would be sort of like Solomon Grundy. He's this walking Hulk, mindless walking, killing Hulk, and Suits would have to go to Dr. Fate or someone to find some way to get rid of him.
Not to spoil my Joker's card in my pocket when it comes to Jason, but here's the ultimate he's got to win kind of thing. Jason X takes place 100 some years in the future. He's still alive. Yeah. They couldn't kill him. They had to send his ass into space. So whatever it was he dealt with before that, he killed it. So nothing can kill Jason.
Apparently not.
Apparently not. Not even space.
Not even bad movies.
Not bad movies. Not space. Not Freddy. Not even.
I mean, they could throw him into the sun because even if he survives the gravity, he'll never escape.
True.
Yeah, but then he'll turn the sun into some kind of white hole, which then consumes the entire universe.
Which will kill the sun with his
which will then completely retract into a singularity, which will then explode again to form a new universe in the format of Jason.
That's a good point. I guess the next best bet would be Jupiter.
Yeah, just put him somewhere he can't get away from.
Put him in Uranus. That's what
No, he'll just warm it up and then chop his way out.
Send him to Pluto. It's not even a planet, is it?
It's not even a real planet.
Well, what if Ant-Man went up Jason Voorhees' ass?
Reclassified,
and it grew in his ass. Would he blow up Jason? Would Ant-Man be the one to beat Jason?
No, Ant-Man would be squished to pieces and come out a bloody diarrhea mess. I don't even think that'd be a challenge. I think he'd just squeeze and then be done and over with. Nothing can kill Jason. It's just the
Perhaps we're already living in a simulated universe that was programmed and created by Jason.
He killed all the people and he's like, fuck, and now I got to make the Matrix.
That's right. He's got to make his own.
The old man.
These plots are just as plausible as some of the other things we watch these days. So,
no, I'm not against it. Jason can verse just about anything he wants. The old man cometh says, I'm actually excited for Deadpool 3. Hopefully it will make up for Origins. Yeah.
Well, if it hasn't been made up for yet, it probably never will be.
Well, yeah. That's one that I can agree on is pretty bad. Even Dick Donner couldn't fucking save that one. LQ3 member for 2 months at the maximum effort puppy level says, "Hail Tom and panel. Always look forward to meet." Well, thank you for the support, and we're glad you enjoy the show. Werewolf says, "I have an idea for Halloween that will break the woke." Oh yeah. Oops, let me jump. Nikki D says, "Is there any credence to the rumor of Henry Cavill's Superman in the Black Adam movie, or is this just cheap marketing for the film?" If it was marketing for the film, it would be confirmed. I have not heard anything to lead me to believe that he is going to be in this movie yet necessarily. They had a placement for him, but I've not heard him coming in for any talks. In fact, to the contrary, I'd heard from something or read something or heard from somewhere that he was actually looking into signing into another contract altogether. So for a different franchise. So at this point, I'm not getting my hopes up for it. And I feel like a lot of the people that are putting those kind of ideas out there are really stoking false hope in fans right now. Because until they say otherwise, I don't believe it. And they were real quick to let us know that Ben Affleck was back. So I don't think they would hold this for too long, especially near unless they bring it out here in the next couple of weeks, then yeah, at this point, I don't see it happen unless anybody thinks otherwise or has anything else to go on. Yeah. We actually joked at the front of the show that his cameo will be his cameo from Shazam. So that tells you anything.
At that point, it's just not. And that was funny to laugh at for one scene, but you can't do that again. That's just you're just adding insult to injury if you're just gonna give it.
Well, I was kidding, but like
Superman cameo.
That's my point. Yeah, it's like outside of flashbacks, I don't think so. And that's all I've heard is he's in flashbacks, but that's it. Like stuff from other scenes.
Movie at that point.
Scenes from other movies, yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, what did you think about that thing about Superman? That Mikey Sutton had released that statement that Zack Snyder had originally wanted to use John Williams' Superman theme, and was.
I wish he had.
I know that's BS because Warner Brothers has no problem using it, and Joss Whedon got to use it without any blowback or effort in his Justice League.
Yeah.
Yep.
The only person that would be there that would refuse it would be Christopher Nolan because he and Hans Zimmer are friends.
Right. And what I'm thinking is I don't think that Mikey's full of shit. I think that whoever said that is full of shit.
That's what I was agreeing with. Like, I don't think Mikey Sutton misheard it. I think whoever told him that is lying, or at least doesn't know the facts. Because Warner Brothers loves it. Even when they were working, here's the funniest part. So when CBS was doing Lois and Clark, because CBS was doing it, Warner Brothers didn't want them to use the Superman 3 theme. So they had to rewrite their own. And then when they were looking at the animated series, they were tempting with it, but they decided to go against it because they didn't know how to properly shorten what they wanted to do for a 30 to 90-second opening. Because John Williams' theme, it takes a bit to get up there before.
They did do it for the 80s animated version, but yeah.
Kind of. They did a rework for it. Yeah, the Ruby Spears.
But you're right, because they didn't have any issues with Smallville using it, for instance.
Smallville used it a number of times after the third season, I think.
And they used like Jarrell's music and all that stuff.
When they had Christopher Reeve come in, they started using the actual John Williams style stuff.
Yeah, and then they kept calling back to Jarrell's theme and some other themes too,
Yep.
So no, I don't think there's any real credence to it, Nikki D. I would like to think that they're bringing him back, but I wouldn't put any stock in it. Then we got Willie, who says, "We all know Script would rock the Neo Canada Gundam." Yes, there's a Canada Gundam. Tom, please sell me on Halloween Ends. The second one didn't wow me. Wow. I mean, if you didn't like the second one, I don't know if I can. 6. What do you think we should do to sell him on it?
Not a damn thing. I think people should make up their own minds.
I think she's right.
I think the movie should do the selling. I mean, when you watch a trailer, the whole point of the trailer is to get you to want to see it. The trailer doesn't grab you, and it just may not be for you. Obviously, there'll be times, exceptions happen. A trailer will be like okay or even bad, and the movie ends up being good. But naturally speaking, a trailer is supposed to grab you like this is, hey, you need to see this movie, and here is why. If that trailer doesn't do that, your chances of seeing that movie do plummet a bit. Some people will be set, but most of the time, yeah, people will judge by what they see those first, minute and a half, because they realize this needs to appease me, because otherwise I'm giving an extra 90 to 120 minutes of your time. So you better make this
Right.
minute and a half worth it to get me to spend that extra other time.
Yeah, now, and I loved the trailer for Halloween Ends, but let's say I love the trailer and then I see the movie and the movie is shit. Then maybe I would be trying to sell somebody on not seeing it. I'd be like, no, this trailer it's a, what's the word?
Dud?
Bullshit. Creative edit. Then yeah, maybe that would be the case. Or let's say somebody didn't like the trailer. Let's say Tom wasn't all that impressed. Tom doesn't love the trailer, and then he sees the movie. I hope you're going to see the movie, right, Tom?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. So then he sees the movie and he loves it. Then he could maybe say to somebody who's seen the trailer and wasn't impressed, he could try to sell him on it. So
that's a good thing. Yeah, that's a fair point, too, because I have nothing to really go on right now. Because, in fact,
if you've already seen the movie and you didn't like it, how are you going to sell it to somebody with extended scenes or something, deleted scenes or something?
I mean, I like the tone of the trailer, but like I even have an issue with the granddaughter being like, "You're obsessed," and like blah 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 blah. It's like, bitch, you should be obsessed too. This motherfucker killed your mother. If Michael Myers killed my kid, I'd be obsessed with him too.
Yeah.
What the fuck? But other than that, no, I thought I like the tone and all that business. So
as long as Michael Myers and Jamie Lee Curtis are in it, I'm gonna be happy.
And I like Jamie, so
yeah. Halloween is like Star Wars to me. They can't. Well, that's not true. Before Disney, Halloween is like Star Wars to me. You can't do anything wrong with it.
Not even the Halloween 3. I thought you said
except for Halloween 3 because it doesn't count.
Yes, that's true. With you there.
It does not suck. It's just not a Michael Myers.
It's just not a Halloween. It's just not your Michael Myers story.
Yeah, it's not for me.
I do like my boy Tom Atkins, but man, that movie.
I don't like it. It was actually the first Halloween movie I saw.
Really? Wow.
Yeah. So I had no frame of reference for this whole Michael Myers thing at first. I was like, it was pretty good.
Well, Season of the Witch was just fine.
Finally, Valiant says something. How you doing, buddy?
I mean, it kind of slid in here under radar. Y'all were just, stealth the way in here, and y'all were talking, and you put me next to this bitch over here.
I can't help that.
God damn it, Gary.
I could do this.
Yeah, God damn it, Gary. I'm sorry. I don't know why I was saying that. I just wanted to copy.
I'll put him up by me.
Hey,
Gary? Or this way.
Oh, God.
Oh, now
this way.
I'm by Jerry.
Oh, my God. Musical square.
Can I just say I just found this hilarious because Legal Mindset was live streaming and he's talking about the whole Ricada thing getting slammed off Twitter.
Yeah, that's bullshit.
Maybe permanently. And I'm like, why can't I find? I went and searched. Frickin' Chris Boozy blocked me. I'm like, well, that's why I can't find him.
Who is that?
The guy that
I'm blocked too.
The guy
I didn't
that
know him.
Ricada was in a war with on Twitter.
Oh, that son of a bitch.
The one I never heard
the
of.
guy that controls a lot of bots. Yeah, he's got a lot of bots.
Yeah, he's something. Leave it there.
Wow. It's always fun to be blocked of someone you've never heard of.
Well, I kind of feel honored. I think it's the first time that somebody on Twitter has actually blocked me, being on Twitter now a year and a half. So
first time? Oh, I got
really.
We're bugged by Dan
I tried.
We got
I
Dan
have
Slot's probably
tried
blocked you.
so hard to get blocked by some of these jackweeds on Twitter, and nobody will do it. But this joker apparently has done it.
Well, you're probably blocked by Dan Slott too, because we aren't. We
Oh, you're definitely blocked by Dan.
I think Six is right. It's probably
I
just
don't even know who that is.
Yeah.
You're lucky.
You're not trying hard enough, Valiant, because I was blocked by people before I even joined Twitter. So you know,
he came pre-blocked.
It was pre-blocked.
Brian's just curious if Deadpool 3 is going to be rated R. Yes, as far as we know, Deadpool 3 is supposed to be rated R, from what we've heard. So I believe that was confirmed. And then we got Joe's Atmosphere, who says, "What did you guys think of the Last of Us teaser?" I didn't watch it. Did anybody here on the panel watch it?
We watch what now?
No,
it's the HBO show.
I did watch it, and I have questions, but I did watch it. But you know what? No matter how good it is, they've completely ruined that franchise for me.
Ruined it, Brian. Ruined.
Ruined. The first game was magnificent. The story was emotional. It was brilliantly written. A great game to play. The second one destroyed it, and I've got a feeling that any residual love I have for the first game might be destroyed by this show because of further changes they're going to make. So,
yeah, it got fucked up the ass like that Man Beast did in the game. Basically,
it could have looked like the greatest show ever, and I would still go into it with a total skepticism. So, yeah, I'm sorry what they've done to it, but now if this had been released before they ever made a second game, then that might have been different.
Yeah, because I mean, I have never played the game, but it came with the PS4 I bought. I played like 5 minutes of it, and I'm like, yeah, this ain't for me.
The first game was great. I would say the first game was a masterpiece, but
that's just me. I'm not much of a gamer, so.
Story-wise, though, the story was brilliant and very emotional, and some fantastic moments in it, and they just threw it all away. In fact, they destroyed it. Yeah,
I've heard it's fuck Naughty Dog. Yeah, Nikki D says movie idea: Predator versus T-800. Who should direct? Neil Blomkamp.
That works.
That'd be an interesting one. ActionCom says, question for the group. Can you name a movie that came and went from theaters and is now forgotten? The Rescue, Cape Fear, Lord of the Flies. Oh God, there's so many. Like I said, go check out Kino Lorber's website. Almost all their movies are chock full of that and Vinegar Syndrome of movies that came and everybody kind of forgot for the most part. I could be here all day.
Plenty of under radar movies that are great. Yeah. That's a tough list to make, right?
It'd take a while. Like I said, this is almost a program in and of itself. But the ones you mentioned there,
Avatar.
Avatar could almost come up on that list.
Somebody said it in chat.
Avatar.
Yeah, I don't know if anyone's been to the cinema recently, but they were pushing that hard last time I went. Avatar, the re-release of it in the cinema, big advert for it. Still didn't interest me.
There was a lot of great HBO movies that have yet to be remastered in HD, although they're slowly getting some of them up on HBO Max.
I like to call the people that love that shit Avatarted.
There seems to be this string of animated films that just, for some reason, can't get love on home video. More adult-oriented ones that weren't Disney films, for instance. Some have finally gotten a release. But
there are certain movies it's exceptionally hard to get even on DVD or Blu-ray.
Oh yeah,
even to this day.
I wonder with Avatar fans, and then I once again I know not everyone's the same. Exceptions always exist, but I wonder if the people who all spent that $10 million to see the Avatar re-release had not seen a movie since 2008 or 9, aka the original release. So they're all just waiting for Avatar 2 to come out. So they're just gonna all come out of the woodworks, like they came from 2009 from a capsule and be like, okay, we're ready for Avatar 2 now. So they've not seen a movie since then. That's why I think that this movie's gonna at least have a decent opening weekend. A lot of people who are into that movie probably saw that movie and they've not seen anything else since. So they're just hanging on to that movie for dear life. And here's another hoax of a story like Jussie Smollett.
Yeah. Well, before we get into this one, Mecha J says, Tom, I watched the Alien Expanded trailer you posted a few hours ago, and I have to say I'm really excited for the new doc. Yes, you can support the documentary by using the link that's in the description of that trailer, and that helps us out as well. And that's coming next year, so that looks interesting. Then we've got Party Pucks, who says, M. Night's Knock at Cabin trailer. Thoughts? Have not seen it yet. I heard it was out. It's been getting a little buzz. Script, do you know anything about this or anything on the panel here about it?
About
M. Night's new movie?
No, I don't care about M. Night Shyamalan. No, neither should you.
I didn't think so.
He did his one good movie, and I props him for that. but he fell into the pit of acquiescing to anyone that says just make the Sixth Sense again, and he shouldn't have done that. He should have said, "Screw you!
He does the exact same twist.
Well, the problem I have is Sixth Sense is like doesn't have very much rewatchability, and to me, his good movie is Unbreakable.
Unbreakable is the one I love the most. Yeah, I love that.
I think if he retitled that "Knocked Up at the Cabin," it could do better.
Just don't put Seth Rogen in it, damn it.
How about the twist be that there's no twist?
I mean, that would be a twist.
That would be something for him for once, right? Like the twist is there is no fucking.
You watch
twist.
the whole movie and you say, "Yeah, it's okay." And wait a minute, I'm waiting for this big. I'm waiting for you, M. Night. You didn't get.
That's kind of why I like Split.
I figured it out, and then
because the twist wasn't a twist. The twist was you're only a twist if you're paying attention, right?
Yeah,
that's the only real twist in it.
But Glass was so disappointing. I
know, right?
To it. I mean, yes, when you put the three together, it's called Unbreakable Split Glass, but.
I know, but it was like, motherfuckers, you
so
screwed it up. That third film was horrible, yes. And I've even gone back and asked myself, would I have liked Split as much in hindsight if I didn't get that thrill out of it being the Unbreakable sequel I've been waiting for my whole life? I don't know, because it's a lot like a lot of other horror movies.
Stuff in it, though.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's a lot like a lot of other horror movies. So.
Yeah.
But yeah, I have not heard too much about it. I just heard it was out. Sorry, I couldn't help you more than that, Party Pucks. But speaking of this, I'm not a Stranger Things person. I've only watched the first season.
Same here.
But Six brought this story to me. Caleb McLaughlin says he's endured racist behavior from fans. It's hard to talk about. When?
Well, you're talking about
Let me get in front of hundreds of people and talk about it then.
No,
yeah. Huge pinch.
Yeah, they love to talk about it, but never give an example.
Yeah, no, well, absolutely.
Well, let's see here what he has to say, I guess. If you can hear it.
Yeah,
definitely took a toll on me as a younger kid. My very first Comic-Con, some people didn't stand in my line because I was black. Some people told me like, oh, I didn't want to be in the line. Because it was 11. Even now, like some people.
Who told you that? Who is going to actually walk up to you and say, I didn't want to stand in your line because you're black?
That is absolute garbage.
I don't believe any of this.
It's a lie.
Absolute garbage.
I don't believe any of this. I've been watching Stranger Things now since it started. I know tons of people that have been watching Stranger Things since it started. Long before I was on YouTube, long before I was on Twitter, I have never heard a single person say anything about him being a black cast member of this show. I mean, not even in the most remote, subtle sense. This is, I'm sorry, I don't know where this is coming from, but it's bullshit.
I couldn't really tell what he was saying, so to be fair.
Basically, he said the first part I couldn't make out, but like the last part there that I paused on, he said at one of my first Comic-Cons, nobody was in my line for a signing. And some people came up to me and said they didn't want to be seen in my line because I was the black kid.
Rubbish.
Oh, bullshit.
That's
bullshit.
a lie.
Absolute garbage.
Total lie.
And that's what I said. Who the fuck is going to walk up and say that to you?
First of all. God.
Okay, Tom, have you heard about the DC writer Tom King?
Oh, God.
I have to ask this because this does tie into this whole Stranger Things actor. A few years ago, Tom King, it's actually maybe even been last year, he did a convention and he said some kid was causing a scene at the convention over mask stuff. And people tried reaching out to the convention about it. And it turns out that the whole story was completely fake. My point is, and like usually, you know, especially at a convention, there's thousands, sometimes even hundreds of thousands of people. People would call crap like this out. People would have no hesitation to be like, hey, you know, we don't want people like
here's more context to it.
This is a lie.
Okay, listen to this. This is the quote he said in the video. When the show first came out, this is the part we couldn't make out. It definitely took a toll on me as a younger kid. The actor said, my first Comic-Con, some people didn't want to stand in my line because I was black.
Oh,
how does he know that? Can he read people's
because
minds?
His parents told him.
He says some people told me.
PR people.
No, here's the other part that he said. Oh, I didn't want to be in your line because you were mean to 11. That has nothing to do with him being black.
Right.
That's right.
Exactly.
The one line does. That one has nothing to do with it. And here, especially if it's like a teenager, you gotta remember now. If you're saying that, if a teenager's saying that comment about being mean to 11, teenagers, take that stuff a little bit more to heart because they're attached to characters and they don't know the real life personas of actors, unlike we do, where we know what these people are like outside of their their day job. So we were like, oh, that's just who they are. That's not what they are on screen. Doesn't translate to real life. Teenagers see a little differently. So that's still not racism, regardless of that comment.
But they're selling it as racism. That's what's pissing me off.
All I know is that if I'd been at a Comic-Con and I've been at a few, and I'd heard somebody say something like that, I and many others would have gone up to them and remonstrated with them if anyone had dared to say something like that out loud in front of everybody. There's no way that something like that would have gone unchallenged.
I'm going to tell you something right now. It's too bad Margaret Hamilton isn't alive today to talk to some of these kids and be like, look, you're going to play a role at one point that may be a bad guy in a kid's show. Guess what? You're going to be that villain for the rest of your fucking life. There are people out there who are not quite all mentally stable, and they do act this way. Like, they will hate and go after and yell at actors in like they're the characters.
Yeah. Oh,
absolutely. I mean, Margaret Hamilton was one of the sweetest ladies alive, but she scared the shit out of children. In fact, they just finally released through a few different channels the episode that she appeared on, Sesame Street as the witch, because it was struck from from being reshown ever on television. In fact, it was some lost media for over 30 some years, and it finally resurfaced because they deemed it too scary for children. Like, sometimes you're going to have this shit as an actor. It's just one of those things you got to deal with. I'm sure Alan Rickman got yelled, "Yippee-ki-yay, motherfucker," almost every goddamn day.
I've never heard anybody and admittedly I've only been to a tiny percentage of the conventions that have ever happened in the world. I've never heard anybody say anything like that.
It's so ridiculous, man.
Yeah, I've never heard it so much as a bad word normally at a convention. They're usually the most welcoming of places.
Right.
I just don't know where this is coming from.
Energy shit, right? Because basically what it is, oh, boo-hoo, I'm not the fucking star of the show, so I'm not getting all the attention.
It's insulting convention goers and Comic-Con goers.
I don't like just, and God, I hate this. You just whip out the racial component of everything to make excuses now. It's like everybody in Hollywood's public relation agent firm is run by Jussie Smollett. I mean, for God's sake, I mean, it's getting old. This is what ruins society. This is what ruins the discourse. This is what ruins honest discussion.
Yeah.
It's like, no, you take something and everything, and look, I'm not necessarily blaming this kid, and I want to make this very clear.
No, I think it's the atmosphere. You're right.
He's just a stupid kid. Yeah,
it is.
Because here this goes on and says this here too. He goes, even now, some people don't follow me or support me because I'm black.
How the fuck is he now?
Bullshit.
He's getting this crap.
This kid has had this shit pumped in his head. Growing up in Hollywood, especially, he has probably had this shit pumped through his head for years now. For years, and he believes this, and this is what I cannot stand about this segment of society. This horrible identity politics segment of society that has been shoving this into Hollywood, shoving this into every aspect of culture known to mankind. They are deliberately trying to destroy the younger generations with this, screwing their heads up. And this is just so sad. I feel terrible for this poor kid. He's a good actor. Stranger Things is a great show. He does a great job on it. I have never met, and I will say this, just to make a point here, where I live is a very conservative area. Most people here are they tend to be registered Republicans and all this kind of stuff. Everybody, all these people, they all love Stranger Things. They love the entire cast, including Lucas. Nobody, I mean, I've never run across anybody that has ever made any type of issue with skin color.
You either love it or you don't watch it. That's kind of what Stranger Things seems to be.
Exactly. So to me, this is just made up. This is more of the same. The 4 years we heard of somebody in a MAGA hat hit me, and of course, all these stories turn out to be complete falsehoods.
Yeah,
I hate this.
But
This
it's
is
a
not good for
self-fulfilling.
society. It's not good for Hollywood, and it's
Yes.
not good for these kids.
It's self-fulfilling prophecy, though, now, because people will now go to a convention, and he may well be there, and they may not get in his line because they don't know how he's going to react to them. They might say, well, you know what, I'm just going to stay away from that guy because
that's just it. Maybe, that's a good point, Brian. Maybe he's already had enough bad experiences. He's coming off in a way that's antagonistic to people, so they're just like fucking turned off by him.
Exactly. So self-fulfilling prophecy. You're going to avoid people you think may dislike you on spec.
Stranger Things was also proof that you could get a very powerful female character and give her flaws and character traits and make her work. Her name was 11, and you do not hear people complaining about her character.
Well, and this is me reminds me of like kind of like the John Boyega thing when he started turning on the fans here recently. It's like, dude, did you lose sight of what the fuck happened before? Like, it's not one or the other. They are the ones who demonetize you. Nobody had a problem with you being in the movie. Nobody. They had bigger problems with it than we did. And in fact, China was the bigger problem. But here's again, if anything, he should be bringing it up to other people. It's like, why am I the only black kid in the cast? That should be the questions he should be asking. Maybe that's more important of a question than this. This to me is just Fugazi bullshit. You're just making shit up in your head like Cryborg because you're not the star of the show. Boo-hoo, too bad you're not 11. Then do more shit. Get a better agent. Maybe you're not that good of an actor. Sorry, I've only seen one season and I don't want to pick on a kid, but I'm not going to sit here and have somebody tell, a bunch of people that they're racist just because they're not going to stand in his line and spend $70 to $80 or whatever it is on a fucking picture. When, of course, if you're not 11, you're not going to spend that much money.
Right. But Tom, keep reading to the part where he talks about his parents.
All right.
Just before you go on, Tom, I actually, unfortunately, have to drop out.
Okay, no problem, Brian. Well, thanks for being here, buddy.
No, thanks, everybody. But before I go, I thought of a movie that is hard to get on Blu-ray, The Keep. That's a movie I would buy. So there you go. Just think about that. Anyway, thanks, guys. See you all on Toxic Tuesday.
Take care.
Bye.
Bye.
See you in an hour.
Right.
Take care.
Stranger Things has, and here we go. So Stranger Things has touched on racial discrimination in smaller moments throughout the show, like the second season when the boys dress up as Ghostbusters, and Mike just assumed that Lucas' name tag will read Winston because, as Lucas puts it, he's the only black one in the film. Following the fourth season,
that's not racism, but okay.
Yeah. So they said they tackled it in that sense. But I didn't see the episode, so I can't really expand upon that.
I see the episode, and it was not racism. I mean, Lucas says, you're having me, you want me to be that character because I'm black, but and that was pretty much it. But it wasn't like
that's not the definition of racism, though.
Yeah,
racism
that's just
usually
a word
comes
with malicious intent. Racism comes with malicious intent. There wasn't any intent of hatred or maliciousness involved. It was just, hey, this is how I look like, this is how you look like. That's all it was. There was no.
Well, they could have done something different with it then, but I haven't seen it, so I can't comment. Following the fourth season, Jezebel, Teen Vogue, and RogerEbert.com pointed out the striking part of the narrative in which Lucas and Erica are chased and even held at gunpoint in Lucas's case by white antagonists. McLaughlin vocalized how he noticed he didn't have as many social media followers as the central co-stars, despite being one of the original actors from season 1. Again,
maybe you're not as good at social media. Maybe you don't interact with your followers the way that your co-stars do.
No. It's not has nothing to do with anything. It's just because of his skin color, don't you know?
Because the other 3 kids in the show have been in, I don't know, a dozen other fucking projects, and you haven't.
I know
that may have something to do with it.
How do you compare yourself to people like Finn Wolfhard and all this?
Exactly.
They were in It and It Part 2 and everything
and
else.
Ghostbusters and
Ghostbusters. I mean, my God. I mean,
hey, Valiant. I want you to say that kid's name again. Wolfhard.
No. You know why?
You got balls, man. I have trouble saying that kid's name. It sounds fucked up, man.
Well, I don't want you to finish with my voice.
Ooh.
Okay.
That is, you are somebody's reason to masturbate. Never forget that.
I love you, Valiant. You're fucking good. You're cool.
When I was younger, it definitely affected me a lot. And my parents had to be like, it's the sad truth, but because you're black, the child on the because you're the black child on the show. So you're right. It was fed to him by his folks. Because I was born with this beautiful chocolate skin, I'm not loved, he continued. But that's why with this platform, I'm going to spread positivity and love because I do not give hate to black people who gave.
Why would they teach their kid that?
Or give hate?
Exactly.
Hollywood. Dude.
Who is hating on you though?
I'm sorry. I'm going to put these are terrible parents.
Yes.
I've said it.
Well,
It's
first
done.
of all, they're terrible
His
parents
parents are
they allowed him
awful
to be an
people.
actor. That's number one.
I feel terrible for this kid. I really do. I genuinely
Yep.
do. As a father of 3 kids, I got 2 teenage daughters. I got an
And I bet
11-year-old
the
son.
last thing you would do is let either any of them be an actor.
I wouldn't. Well, that
Not as a
but no, my
child
point
actor,
is,
I mean.
I have never, no matter what it is. I mean, my kids know. No, there's no excuses. You're an individual. You live in a free country. Your life is your own. Your life is what you make of it. You know, and I actually, I tell you what, guys, I have them watch that scene from Rocky Balboa like at least once a year. Y'all know the one I'm talking about.
Oh, yeah.
Well, Stallone comes
James.
out and he says, yeah, you know, at some point you started letting people putting a finger in your face saying you're not where you are because of him or her or whatever else. That's not, I mean, that's not you, right? You got to get through that. That's how winning is done. I mean, it doesn't matter who we are. Everybody has stuff in life that's going to get in their way.
Mhm.
And you can, like Rocky says, you can either let her beat you to your knees or you can keep moving forward. Now, for somebody's parents to sit there and tell a kid, you know what? I'm sorry, son or daughter. You were born this way and you have no chance. You're always going to be in a disadvantage no matter what you do. No matter what you do. Man, what the hell kind of parent is that?
They're setting him up.
These
for
are parents.
failure.
These are Hollywood parents, Valley, and you know that. These are Hollywood parents who grow up with this mentality that that's what's put in their heads, so they don't think, "Oh man, this is such a bad way to live."
I wish it was
I gotta
just
make sure
Hollywood
my children
parents.
get the opposite. Nope, they just pass it on to their kids. So they
Nick,
can
I
pass
wish it was just
the chain
Hollywood
of
parents.
victimhood down.
It's
Yeah,
it's
it's
not
more
just
than
Hollywood parents.
I know,
Because
I know.
not all parents. There's a lot of these parents nowadays, I was going to say, that they treat their kid like they are not the problem. And these are the type of ones that I would get pissed off at in like when I worked in the video store, because there was this one specifically reminds me of one where one day this kid come in with his mom, and this kid was probably like 10, maybe at the most. And he just starts ripping movies and shit off the fucking shelf onto the floor. Just like taking his arm and just dragging it along and just fucking ripping the movies down.
Oh,
And I'm like, are you going to make him pick those up? And she's like, what? Isn't that your job? I said, well, it's not my job to parent your kid. And she got all pissy with me. I'm like, no, that's bullshit. I got enough shit to do back here. You're supposed to be controlling your kid. And she got all pissy with me. And she called my manager out there. My manager goes like, well, he should go pick that shit up.
Right?
And she got pissed and stormed the fuck out. Because she's and she's one of these parents where my kid's not the one in the wrong. You're in the wrong for even daring to think that he should have to pick that up.
I don't understand that at all. I never grew up that way. I mean, it used to be when I grew up. I mean, I was born in '79. I grew up in the era of, I was Gen Xer, the late end of the Gen X. But I mean, it was, if a teacher or the school or another adult called your mom or dad to say that your child did something wrong, that was your ass. It's not like today where mom and dad will chew out the other adult for coming at their little precious angel that can do no wrong. No. It was like, oh, my son or my daughter, did what? Oh my God. No. I mean, it's a completely different mindset now. It's just absolutely incredible to me. My kids are growing up the way I grew up. Like, no, you need to defend your actions. And it's not because I put them in a corner and say, well, you're guilty until proven innocent. But part of it is getting them to learn that, look, you're still a child. You're not on the same footing as an adult. I think that's one of the biggest problems. And especially like we see it here with this kid from Stranger Things. Parents seem to want to elevate children to the level of adulthood way before they're ready. They haven't earned it, and they're not raising them to be adults.
To it.
Right. They're just keeping them around until they're 18 years old.
And the thing that I see with my kid, Valiant, and then I had to have a conversation with him a lot of the time was because, you know, he would get into my face about individuality and, you know, not trying to stifle who he wants to be and shit. It's like, no, it's my job to make sure you're not a fucking asshole.
Exactly.
Right? That's what I'm supposed to do. I'm supposed to get you from here to 18 and alive and healthy. And to not be a fucking asshole to people. That's my job.
Right.
And if
the
you
job
don't
of
like
a
that,
parent
tough
is
shit.
to make sure that a kid, when they turn 18, is as functional an adult as you can possibly make them. And like, I got a 15-year-old daughter that, I mean, she thinks she's 30. And, you know, she get, well, you do this and mom does that. And it's all this. I'm like, sugar. A, I'm your father. B, I'm 43 years old. And C, I've earned what I have in life. When you get older and you get a job and you take care of your own shit, then we can have this conversation. But for right now, shut the hell up. I mean, I don't take the attitude. Too many parents these days to make too many excuses for their kids. And I just, that's the biggest problem.
Well, it's look, I raised Zoe by myself. And what I learned with her is, you know, to remind her constantly, this isn't a democracy. This is a dictatorship. I'm in charge. You do what I say. If you don't, guess where you're going to be for the rest of the night? In your room with nothing. I won't let you have your TV or phone. You're going to go in there and just sit quietly and try to figure out, you know, where did I go wrong? Oh, I said the wrong thing to my dad. That's it.
Well, and you have the other problem, though, is first half is, you know, the parents who won't do it. Then you have the parents like the few of us here on the panel, it sounds like. But see, you have your hands tied on a lot of things, right? Like my favorite saying with my kid always was, you know, when I was growing up, you just prayed to God that the cops didn't drag your ass home so your dad beat your ass. The cops didn't show up because your dad beat your ass, right? Because then it was a bigger deal. If your dad found out that you got in trouble with the cops, oh boy, you were going to get it. You were more worried about your dad than you were the fucking cops. Right? Nowadays, these kids have no fear. They're the fuck you dad generation or the fuck you mom generation. They're just like, what, do this? No, fuck you. And you're just supposed to take it because you can't do anything about it. Because if you do, and here's a perfect example. An ex of mine, she had, I think the kid was about 8 years old at the time. And she had 2 other kids. And we were at a store. And on the way out, the kid was pissed off because she didn't get something she wanted. So she kept stopping in front of her mom. And so finally, just as we're going, she just swats her in the ass and says, go, or you're going to get worse. So we get out to the car, and I shit you not, we barely get into the fucking van, and cherries and berries roll up on us. This was a matter of minutes.
Does that mean cops?
Yep.
Yeah.
And so the cop comes to the window, and he has a step out and asks what's going on, and we explain the situation. And I said, so who the fuck called? He goes, well, I don't know. I said, well, I guarantee you they ain't got kids.
And most cops, like where I live, they would laugh at shit like that.
He was kind of a jerk at first, but yeah.
Yeah. But it's sad. I know we kind of deviated a little bit from the main topic. And I apologize.
That's fine
but look, it plays into this because there's a video I'm working on for later this week. You know, there's some recent studies that was done in some Hollywood area colleges that explain a lot of what's going on in Hollywood right now. I think it ties into this, and it's depressing. It's really depressing. It's the generation of parents now that just frankly don't want to do their damn jobs, or they think that they are doing their jobs, but they're just doing them poorly. Kind of like Kathy at Star Wars.
Well,
and
that's
Lucas.
the first misconception right there is equating parenthood to jobs. It's not. It's a responsibility, the ultimate responsibility. Yeah. It's a tier above a job.
That's
and
true.
You call it a job, you
I
diminish
agree
what
with
parenting is, essentially. And if parents are like treating it like it's a job, then they're not doing it properly because it's not. You are responsible for a life. At a job, you're not technically responsible for your employee's life unless there's like a, you know, it's a little bit more nuanced in a job type of thing. You didn't create the life that is occupying the job you think it is. as a parent, you did. It's like, okay, I brought this thing into this world. It had no choice in the matter. It's here. I've got to make sure it can function without me. Like an employer doesn't have to do that. An employee doesn't really have to do that, but a parent does, and that's why it's the ultimate responsibility. And when you call it a job, you kind of insult all the parents that really take it seriously, especially if you are a parent and think of it as a job. But I know what you were getting at there, Valley.
No, I agree.
No,
and I said job too at one point, but no, he's 100% right. Because I've said to my son, it's like, son, I'm not going to be here someday, and I want to make sure that you're not being taken advantage of and all these other things, because he is autistic, right? And he's resistant to a lot of me still being his dad right now, because he's at that age. He's 21. He wants to be uber independent, but it's like, son, you're not able to do all this stuff on your own. It's clear, and I'm not going to get into the whole, kit and caboodle of it all, but yeah, the problem of it is getting him to understand the responsibility of it all with his disability at the same time is nearly impossible. But there's plenty of kids that function just fine, but yet they could function just fine, let's say. But there's a huge issue with the parenting and the inability to parent correctly in this nation right now, and that's my biggest gripe.
Tom, the thing that you're talking about is the whole nanny state thing, where they're trying to make the government, local or federal, to be in charge of how you raise your kids. They stick their nose into everything, and they consider some things that we consider abusive acceptable, but the things that we try to do, like in discipline, as abuse. And their fucking minds are backwards. And then everybody wonders, why are our kids all fucked up? It's because we're being restricted in how we try to raise our kids.
Well, and it's caused us to have a whole generation of Cartmans, basically.
Yeah,
that's the problem.
Yeah.
And the other part too is the fact that they broadened the spectrum of what is abuse and what is discipline.
Yeah.
They conflated.
That's exactly it.
It's like, yeah, I have to spank my kid only up until this point because they're going to get the message. And unfortunately, children have such a small and narrow frame of reference that they have to first learn to associate pain with bad behavior, because once they get an adult, they don't figure that out. When they do get slapped with something serious, it's going to, put them in front of a loop. And we're kind of seeing the results of that. We see people screaming and panicking over the minor indiscretion because they probably never actually faced any conflict or understood the conflict of or the consequences of their actions. It's nuts.
And honestly, I would say that there's worse forms of abuse that go on other than physical abuse when it comes to
psychological is incredibly difficult.
That's what I'm saying. Like, there's a lot more of that goes on. It's completely looked over compared to the other side of things, to where, I'm not one who's big on corporal punishment. I'm the type of person, like, every kid's different. You're going to be able to find one thing that's going to be able to upset that kid, or at least get to them in a way that they know that that's going to be a huge punishment for them. And it doesn't always necessarily mean a spanking, right? So every kid's different. And to kind of lump, to be able to lump one thing in with the other is totally asinine to me. And then call one thing abuse, but yet other things go without being called out is ridiculous too. But Mr. Tickle Trunk says, with $5 Canadian here, the number of kids who jump to racism is staggering today. And this is the shit they're being fed. When does this stuff fall into the category of child abuse? And that's kind of what I'm getting at here. Continuously heartbreaking. Like, we're going beyond just like personal abuse in the sense of like, making someone feel lesser than or anything like that in a home setting, but you're making them feel like they're lesser than in society in general. And to me, that's just as bad. And it does. It causes a person to act the way that this kid is acting, and he will never probably reach his full potential, and he'll continue to count other people's money and other people's followers and other people's fans for the rest of his life, instead of just enjoying what he has accomplished, which very few people have, especially at his age. So that's the thing I find very disturbing in this whole mess. But yeah,
it is unfortunate, especially when you watch him in the show. He's a very believable 3-dimensional character. You see him go through trials, tribulations. You see him grow. You see him go through all these things.
Well, not just that, Nick. I mean, he's an actor on a huge fucking show right now. When this show is done, he should be able to move on with a career, no problem, as long as he doesn't keep doing stupid shit like this.
Well, that's just it. It's going to become a self-fulfilling prophecy, to where he buries any chances he has down the road completely by continuing to do this stuff. I think there's a turn going on in certain segments out there. I mean, we saw this article in these comments today from Elizabeth Banks. I think Hollywood's realizing this. Okay, well, maybe all this stuff isn't working like we hoped, because this new audience that they've been trying to attract at the expense of the broad audience from all ethnic, skin color, backgrounds, whatever the case may be, that they've had for years, is walking out the door. This isn't working. So, I hope this kid, wises up, and frankly, and I hate to say this, but he needs to stop listening to his parents, because his parents are leading him down the wrong path.
Well, and how many?
That's sad.
How many Hollywood kids have had good relationships with their parents? Not many. I can't even think of one offhand where they've, other than the Howard kids.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can't. And he told me direct as a person, he's like, oh yeah, our dad took care of us. He made sure that we put money away, and our money was our money. They didn't touch our fucking money and all that kind of shit. So like that to me was like, important to hear, because you never hear those stories in Hollywood ever.
Because it doesn't make for good headlines.
Well, not just that. I mean, most of the time, I'm trying to think. Like I said, I'm stretching to think of one time where a child actor hasn't had to either divorce their parents, come out later and said, yeah, it was my dad or my mom that forced me into this or that, or my dad spent all my fucking money on coke and hookers.
Gee, sounds like bad Hollywood parenting.
That's just Macaulay Culkin.
Oh, I know. That's just Macaulay Culkin. I know. There's more of them.
Look at Lindsay Lohan's mom, Drew Barrymore's mom.
I was just about to say Drew Barrymore. There was a wave of it. It's undeniable.
What's her face? From the iCarly show or whatever. Her recent book is "I'm Glad My Mom's Dead" or some shit like that. It's titled.
Her mom was a cunt bag.
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. Like, a lot of these parents in this thing is like, most of the time they're part of the problem.
They're complicit in that. They're complicit indirectly, because they know what their kids are doing, and they're letting it happen because they think, well, it's Hollywood. No, they're protecting Hollywood. Everyone can just look the other way because they got that Hollywood privilege attached to them.
Yeah, well, and that's the saddest part of I watched that Corey Feldman documentary that he put out. The thing that I got out of it was like, I didn't get what he was trying to put out there so much as it's the parents and the managers and the handlers that are the ones that you need to watch out for. They're the enablers in this whole thing, and the abusers.
Well, you got to remember, just like in they all love to go after Catholic priests, but the fact is, any place where there are adults that get to work with kids, you're going to find predators. They go for those jobs.
Yeah.
Yes, and sadly, that's true.
That's sad reality. They're not everywhere, but they are present, and that's something we definitely always got to be.
Nick, they are everywhere. They are everywhere, buddy.
Maybe I don't necessarily think so, but at the same time, I know that they are prominent to a point. Absolutely. That's why being vigilant and always being on guard is important. Whether it's a daycare or a regular babysitter at home, you got to always be on guard with those stuff and never get too close for comfort, because the biggest problem that's going on with your kids could be right in front of you.
Well, I think I remember.
Very much so.
I don't remember exactly how she put it. I'm sure Script will correct me if I'm wrong, or even Six if she's heard the interview. But I remember even Carrie Fisher talking about her mom one time. As much as she loves her and as close as they were, she said the problem was she was never like a mother. She was too much like a friend growing up, and that's where a lot of her problems stem from.
That really is a problem. I got to share one thing that when Zoe was a baby and her mother was in the picture, she put a bunch of stickers on her window, like clear stickers that light would come through. And I took them off, and she says, "Why'd you do that?" I said, "Because predators drive around looking for windows that are clearly marked to be kids' rooms. And you don't ever want to let people outside your house be able to identify which room your kids are in. Never."
No, I used to think a lot of that stuff was just a little extra too, like, conspiracy, like, oh God, you're worried about everybody. It's gotten to a point where nowadays, some of it is sadly, I mean, it's worse than it was when we were younger. That's the sad part.
I remember watching an interview with Carrie Fisher shortly after her daughter was born, and she had her daughter laying on a blanket in the grass, and Carrie and the interviewer and the camera were dozens of feet away, and she told the interviewer that was the closest that she was going to allow cameras to get to her daughter, because she didn't want her child to grow up in the same type of environment in the same way that she had, with having having cameras around.
Yeah, and she did kind of dip out of the limelight there for a while, not just because of her career trajectory, but like she did it on purpose. She got more into writing and away from the limelight.
Oh, she stayed in the industry. She was just doing other stuff.
That's what I mean. Yeah.
Yeah.
What'd you say?
Yeah.
Well, she never left the industry. She just kind of moved from one. She just wanted to reduce the acting and stick onto the writing, because she could spend more time with her kid and drive her husband at the time, Brian Lord, nuts, because that's what she loved to do.
She wanted to be the mother that she wanted her mother to be, is really what it was.
Yeah.
And I admire that.
And I think that's in like Wishful Drinking. I think she talks a lot about that, if I remember right.
She does. And then she also talks about how it took years for her and her mom to reconcile and become normal again, because I think her brother was the one that was able to achieve that first, because he stayed as far away from the entertainment aspect of the business as he could.
I mean, I think he had some of his own issues with drugs and stuff, but yeah.
Well, I mean, when you see, Carrie Fisher.
Well, when Eddie Fisher's your dad, and
it wasn't just Eddie Fisher, but also like her stepfather was. He's kind of like one of the poster boys for all the bad behavior in Hollywood, sadly.
Unfortunately, that is true. And then Daramuth says, it's a sad reminder to say I won't be here one day to your child. It is indeed. I'm not ready when it comes time for my own parents. Same here. Remember, life is finite. Yes, it is. So cherish every moment. And then Night of Snoke had a quick question. Late question, but what exactly are the reasons Warner Brothers preferred Joss Whedon's Justice League over Snyder's version? Thanks. I don't know if it's preference so much as just that's the theatrical cut. Everybody I've talked to has said that is the canon version. That's just the way it is.
I mean, it was commissioned because Warner Brothers really wanted people to leave the theater happy from their movie.
Mm-hmm. And not feeling dour.
And
now, go ahead, script.
Yeah. I mean, and 2 strikes essentially on Zack Snyder, and he hits a ball with Wonder Woman with his contributions there. But Justice League,
a base hit at best.
At best, yeah.
Wonder Woman's
or
a base
foul.
hit. Is at best. No, with the Zack Snyder, the thing is, like, they saw what was causing all the ruckus with the reaction, and one of the constant complaints was how just very depressing those movies are to watch. Like, you don't come out of those feeling good. You could say what you will about the MCU movies, but you don't feel that way coming out of those movies, at least those then. Obviously, totally different story now, but you weren't, Elsie, the parent, just look at Clark's parents in Man of Steel. Worst advice ever. Superman acting like Batman with power.
Jonathan was terrible in that movie.
Oh, dude,
kill the fucking kid. You should have done it yourself.
You should have let him die.
And I'm not gonna go down that road too far, but
no, there's nothing much to go down, because you have Kevin Costner, who's a great casting choice for that character, and you give him the lines of a freaking monster.
Yeah.
No, I think that unfortunately I've said it a million times over, so I'm sorry for those who've heard it, but that story that he tells in BBS should have been what he told Clark when in that scene following the bus scene.
Exactly. They were trying to make up for the mistake of how they represented Jonathan Kent.
Exactly. And it's the same thing with the whole tornado scene and everything else. There's a whole lot of that.
Yeah, that scene makes no sense whatsoever.
Thinking of regret.
Oh, yeah.
Since we got Nick only for like another 10 minutes, I did not expect to talk about that last one that long. That was supposed to be the throwaway topic, because once I saw this article, I could not stop laughing. Because I can take you guys back on a little bit of I would like, if I may, take you on a bit of a journey. We originally reported on this movie back when Elizabeth Bank was coming out and saying that this movie is chock full of feminist agenda, and the studio was getting behind the whole push for it. And then she blamed men for not seeing the movie. But lo and behold, Andre did a little snooping around, and he found out demographically that more women went to see Rambo Last Blood than went to see Charlie's Angels. So she was blaming the wrong people, if you ask him and me or whoever. And in that respect, because that movie came out, I believe, either the same weekend or damn near the same time. And so here we are, 3 years after the fact, and now Miss Banks is having a little bit of regret over the way that the film was promoted. And I have a feeling we're going to start to see some more of this. Yes.
I think I'm the only one on the panel that's seen the movie because I thought it was all right.
I think I remember you saying something about it then. Yeah.
I mean, it was not overtly as woke as you'd expect it to be, like, say, Terminator Dark Fate, because, like, the girls actually lose fights against men, and they actually have a hell of a time trying to win in them. But, no, I would say that, it does bad to Bosley. It does... Or not, sorry, not Bosley. To Bosley.
I was going to say, because weren't you the one who told me they pretty much make Patrick Stewart's character the bad guy?
He is the bad guy, yeah.
I think you were the one who also told me it's not actually a reboot; it's a sequel to the.
It's a sequel to the series, yeah. Because it even has one. They bring back a couple of the original cast members towards the end, and they do the worst thing ever, which, whenever you're dealing with, like, say, a covert team, don't institutionalize them to be this giant global enterprise with hundreds upon thousands of agents. Like, it loses the mystique of what Charlie's Angels was. That was 3 women who were hired by Charlie, who got Bosley as their coordinator, and they solved relatively small but high stakes issues.
They're basically 3 like Bonds, but American women, basically, is what it was.
Well, they're domestic, essentially. Like, they don't really travel too much outside of the country.
But they use. But my point is, they got like the spy thing going on. That's the thing. It was already kind
former
of
police women that left the police department to become better agents of the law, essentially, because they were not being given the due respect they deserved for their sexuality. So they decide to weaponize their sexuality.
That's what I'm saying. The original show was already pro-feminine.
It was chauvinistic. They'll change the argument when you mention the old school Charlie's Angels. That's what they do. Like, even if you concede that, they'll just change the argument, and they expect you to then adjust to their argument again. So I've seen this crap before. Here's the thing. Now, when that movie came out in 2019, I kind of didn't even know it was coming out. And then, obviously, when it tanked, I actually then was like, whoa, that flew under my radar. And then all of a sudden I heard all the comments about how men didn't see the movie. And then I think that was close to around the time I may have been discovering some of the channels around these, around these next.
I thought you were going to say women finally, but
no,
it's a little too late for that. I think the spiritual successor of Charlie's Angels, which was it was a really, really cheesy show that had Pamela. I don't remember.
Pamela Anderson?
Pamela Anderson, yeah. I can't remember the title, but it was like she runs a consultant protection agency. Oh, VIP, yes, that's it. I remember that.
Oh yeah, I remember.
Oh yeah, I remember that too now. Yeah.
I think he even had one of the guys from like 21 Jump Street in it.
Wasn't it? Shit.
Was it?
Yeah,
Johnny
they're all
Grieco?
singing in the chat. VIP.
Grieco, yeah, or Richard Grieco or whatever. Yeah.
Richard Grieco.
Anyway, let's see what Elizabeth has to say about this bullshit. I wish that the movie had not been presented as just for girls, because I didn't make it just for girls. Banks told the New York Times. There was a disconnect on the marketing side of it for me. No, you were the disconnect, you dumb idiot. You did this to yourself. I mean, you can't take half, like, never mind. Anyway, Banks said that
the company line at the time. I guess.
That. I've got other articles that I sent to Nick because he's like, I'd love to see what she said at the time. I'm like, here's what she said at the fucking time. And she's like, I slipped feminist agendas into this movie and all this other shit. She said that.
Poorly. She did it poorly too.
That's and then she said,
she's not that sharp, so it's really
that's not
hard to
true.
believe.
Honestly, here's the sad part about it. She's actually pulled some shit off with like her Pitch Perfect movies and some other things. She's done some really shitty things too.
Mm-hmm.
But she's got a
pretty average career, but she's also got talent. Like that's what
I was trying to say. Is like I wouldn't say she's stupid.
She's so adequate. She's virtually bursting with adequatulence.
I think that she's starting to realize that this was a move that was not going to help her career, especially when she was on an upward trajectory. She said, when women do things in Hollywood, it becomes a story. There was a story around Charlie's Angels where I was creating some feminist manifesto. I was just making an action movie. So yeah, but basically I think what Script was saying is kind of true. She, at least in this respect, she's totally throwing the studio under the bus, basically, or at least the marketing department, let's say. The Pitch Perfect 2 director added that she would have liked to have had made Mission Impossible, but women aren't directing Mission Impossible. I was able to direct an action movie, frankly, because it starred women, and I'm a female director, and that is the confine right now in Hollywood. To me, that sounds like a problem with modern Hollywood, because it didn't seem to have that problem back in the day.
Okay, but 2 years before this Charlie's Angels shit show happened, Wonder Woman made bank at the box office in 2017. Regardless of how you felt about that movie, it did minimum, 400 domestically alone, directed by a female, led by a female. Like, and they expect you to, forget these things. Like, they truly think we're stupid and that we have these attention spans that just go out of our way to ignore things that happen that contradict their arguments. It's insane.
Yeah, and I know Valiant's got to leave us, and I know you got to leave us here soon too, Nick. But you're going to be heading over to Toxic Tuesday.
Yeah, I got to go over there too.
Which will be showing Total Recall tonight, and I actually have that linked to the program. It'll take you over directly from the program to the show. It should, if YouTube is working correctly.
Outstanding.
Fancy.
I'm starting to learn a little bit.
Thank you.
Valiant showed me some things
tonight.
And Culture showed me some things. And
you're going to have to send me.
One of them was their penis. I'm not telling you.
No, I didn't. No.
It was definitely Culture.
No.
It was Culture.
Well, yes, Culture. Yes, it was.
That's
Culture.
why he's not here tonight. He was too embarrassed.
Oh my God.
I said, that's it. And that was the last I heard.
God almighty.
He's like, what do you mean?
I've got to go pick up one of the kids, but no, I didn't want to jump in and disturb while y'all were going. So, but thanks for having me on.
VR.
Script Doctor's new logo looks awesome. Put it up on
Oh,
Twitter.
it's a work
Y'all
in
go check it
progress.
out.
I haven't finished it yet.
Hey, take it easy,
I
Valiant.
might be able to help you with some of the animation on that script. That reminds me. One of these days when you get some time.
I liked it. I thought it was clever. Just
Thanks.
simple, direct.
Because there's a way to do it in OBS to where you don't have to have both things on the screen at the same time.
It kind of reminds me of like one of those law tube logos.
Well, I just took it off of the old medical doctor's logo, and it's like, oh, I'll just play around with that and do it around.
This reminds me of the old Facebook when you don't have your picture on there.
Yeah.
That's what it reminded me of the first time I saw it.
God, that's from a long time ago.
But you just put a wig and glasses and
long time ago, like the good old days of social media.
The good old days.
The time when social media was like, hey, I'm going to look up this person I haven't seen in 5 years, and then forget about them.
Stalk your ex. Yeah.
What?
Now it's just another government entity. Oh,
I'm the one who's always getting stalked. No, but I don't know if you have to leave right away too, Nick, but I know Valiant had to head out the door, so
yep, I got a boogie.
Thanks,
guys. Good to see y'all.
All right, man.
Take care, Valiant.
We good.
Yeah, so I'll say real quick again. Yeah, guys, in a half hour, Toxic Tuesday. Many of you come in. If tonight's a night where you've held off, to make tonight the first night you show off for us, because this is seriously gonna be huge. Talking,
I will try
Total
to be
Recall,
there.
One of the best freaking action movies ever. I stand by that statement. So, anyways, Tom, thank you for having me.
Nicholas, be good,
Jerry,
Nick.
I'll see you soon. Script, nice seeing you.
Take care,
Clawby
brother.
6.
Okay, buddy.
Good.
Tom. Yes. Chat, have a great night. I gotta get prepping for the show. So take care and thank you.
All right.
All right, man.
And
So,
I'm going to be on there with Nick too, so I'm going to probably boogie too because I need to check all my
All
stuff.
right. Well, then I'll talk to you later too, probably,
All
Gary,
right.
with a J.
All right, Tom, thanks
Gary?
for inviting me. It's good to see you, Clobby. Good to see you,
Hi,
Six,
buddy.
as always.
Good, man.
Script Doctor, I kind of like you, so.
Yeah, you're all right.
You're like one of my favorite human beings. Fuck you.
Aw. Bye, Felicia.
Bye, Felicia. Fuck you, Six. I'll see you guys later.
I love you, Gary.
I love you too. All right,
Take care,
bye-bye.
dude. I'm going to say one thing though. She's kind of right about one thing. Okay. I'm gonna not walk back, but I'm gonna take one little tiny step back from my little pissing rant earlier here. women have not traditionally directed a lot of action films. But I got to ask you guys, do you think that's more because of the stigma of the industry, of the franchise, or the type of genre itself? Or do you think it's just more so that women just haven't taken that plunge?
I come across that most women want to direct other things than an action film. That's just my take. I think it just has to do with how many of the percentage of women that are directors are really interested in that particular genre. I only think there's a handful in comparison, just like how on the opposite side of things, there's not a whole lot of male directors that are hugely interested in making musicals.
That's
nowadays.
a good point. And actually, I agree with you wholeheartedly, and that was going to be pretty much my answer to it too. But go ahead, Klobby, in 6.
No, it's pretty much set. Yeah, good 6.
I don't even know if it's so much that they haven't taken that plunge. It's maybe that they're not interested in taking that plunge. Some people like to swim in freshwater. Some people like to swim in saltwater. It's just a matter of preference. And if more women tend to not be interested in that, well, then that's fine. And if there aren't as many women, excuse me, directing action films, how many women want to direct action films? Why does it have to be an even number? Why do they have to say, well, the female population is 49%, the male population is 51%. Therefore, we must have 49% of action film movies directed by women. That doesn't make any sense.
No, I agree with that too. And here's my other side to that whole thing, and to add to what Script said. Traditionally, women have had no problem getting into male-oriented genres in the past when they have wanted to. Right? Look at Wayne's World, Real Genius, a few other movies that would normally be considered like male-driven comedies were directed by women, believe it or not. Big was directed by a woman. And I think you're right, Script. I think you all are right. I think it has more to do with what women want to do and not want to do. But what I will say to her, what her point is here, she does want to do this. Yep. But they have let other women do it. Their names are Patty Jenkins. And what's her face who did the Eternals? Deborah Chow.
I mean, Catherine Bigelow did The Hurt Locker. That's a pretty good. That's a drama with a lot of action in it. And I think that was pretty decent. She can do it.
So it's worked to varying degrees. So honestly, I don't see her argument here. Like I said, I was giving her the benefit of the doubt, but I'm with you guys on this. I just wanted to make sure I wasn't the only one who felt that way. That I agree with you guys for the most part, outside of the few exceptions. Any woman who's wanted to do just about anything in Hollywood, I don't think she's had any problem doing so. In fact, I would say they seem to have more of a chance of getting something made than a man does half the
time. Perhaps. I mean, I will just say one thing. Like up until a few years ago, when films are now being able to be shot and produced a little bit faster, if you got the status of a director, you basically looked at you're getting if you don't screw up terribly, you're maybe getting 10 to 15 movies over your entire career. Unless you manage to hit that that tier of like Steven Spielberg or what have you, which is a very difficult tier to hit. So when women are directors and they get that point, they're going to make the movies that they think they can make the best, and they're probably, because it's going to take years of their life, and they're probably not going to want to waste it on something they don't love or are passionate about, because that'd be a bad call. So that's why you more predominantly see men doing action films and comedies than women. I think it's just women are like, okay, I've got only so many years as a director I can do. If they also want to be, having families, which a lot of them do, they're like, okay, if I'm going to do this, I'm going to make sure it's a great movie so that I get myself a number of years where I can be with my kids and still be in the industry, but not have to be too dedicated to like a bigger project, so that when they're old enough, I can come back and pick up where I left off. That's partly what Patty Jenkins's plan was. She did Monster, had a kid or two, did a lot of TV directing in the interim, and some little bits of producing and whatnot, and then came back with Wonder Woman, and it looked like it was going on a good track with her. And then she decided to
shit the bed.
Instead of stick with just directing, she decided to partake in writing as well. And clearly she did not learn enough of the basics for that, because all the ideas that she put out there for Dave Callahan to put into the script were terrible. No. And then also hiring and agreeing to work with Dave Callahan was a bad idea also.
Now, also, the original films were produced by Drew Barrymore. I can't remember. Didn't Tim Story direct the first two films? Who directed the first two? For some reason, Tim Story sticks in my head.
I can't remember. But yeah, Drew Barrymore has the rights to that. She also had the rights to Barbarella. She was going to do a Barbarella for a while there.
Which two films? You mean Charlie's Angels?
Yeah, the first two.
Wasn't it McGee?
Was it? Oh yeah, that's right. It's McGee. Yes. So I was trying to think who the fuck directed it. It was somebody famous, but famous, but like who did stuff, but then like isn't big anymore. Yeah, okay. For some reason, we were talking about Tim's story earlier though today, but so at this point, like I just don't see her argument here. What she should be saying, I guess I'm giving her a little bit of credit for coming out against the marketing department, but she's got to be a bit more clear. And if it's true, then great, because that's what these actors and directors and whatnot's got to come out and do, is call out the business for doing this shit to them. If this is the truth, because otherwise I'm going to blame them just as much as everybody else in the industry. So I'm not ready to give Banks a pass on this yet. I was disappointed when she did this in the first place, because she was one of those director/actresses that I did like, even if not everything she did was great. In fact, that one movie she tricked a bunch of people into being, what was it called? Movie 54 or whatever the fuck it was.
53 or something like that.
53. Yeah, like that thing was a
43.
That should never have been made.
That should never have been made. But on the other side of it, I don't think she's a hack. I think she's got some talent. I think she's bright. I wouldn't say brilliant. I would say bright. But in this case was a bad move on her part. I'm glad to see that she's trying to at least, I wouldn't say take responsibility, but she's at least realized the problem. Now you got to fix it, I guess. I don't know how else to put it. What do you anybody else got anything to say on this?
No.
Yeah, I didn't think so. We already went way over time on this and other stories, but it was interesting that all these dropped like right at the last minute, because it started out today. We didn't have shit to talk about.
Yeah.
The next thing you know, Hugh Jackman is going to be in Deadpool 3. So like, that's huge news. I kind of knew. I knew that was going to happen. So like, I'm not surprised, and I'm glad. I just hope it's good. Movie 43. That's what it was. Yes.
We shouldn't remember that.
Shouldn't, and I don't on purpose. Like I tried to like forget that movie, because I watched it going, it can't be as bad as everybody said. Oh my god,
I've never heard of it.
I'm glad I've only heard of it.
It's like a skit-driven movie kind of thing, and they tricked a bunch of famous people into being into it. I don't know how they did it, but yeah, it is bad. It is bad. So yeah, there was this. What else did you bring in here? 6. Black Panther. Oh yeah, Wakanda Forever. I think the running time, what is it? 2 hours and 43 minutes. I saw that.
Yeah, something like that.
Or 2 hours and 41 minutes.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yikes.
And then the Star Trek.
Oh yeah, duh. That was breaking news. Well, I don't know if I'd call this breaking.
Broken news.
Broken news is more like it. It's like, again, it's like a clock, right?
Oh my god.
Oh yeah, we were kind of overdue for some more Star Trek 4 news.
No,
that's not Star Trek.
It's been removed. We were right. It's done. That's why I said fucking giant freaking robot when we were talking about that the other day. I was like, no fucking way. This thing.
That picture has nothing to do with real Star Trek.
So yeah, Star Trek sequel has been removed from the upcoming slate, to no one's surprise.
Good.
JJ's crying in his cereal again.
Poor JJ.
I can't get it, his bastard.
Jar Jar Abrams.
I don't get it. I'm JJ Abrams. I should be able to make anything I want.
Wait a minute. There was some emails from some Siberian princes or something like that in my emails. Let me go look. Maybe if I suck some dick, I can get this movie made.
So, how many attempts does that make Star Trek?
I think this
4?
is 5 or 6
4?
now. Yeah, at least.
More
Because you had
attempts to
S.J.
make it
Clarkson, you had Noah Hawley. There was another one before S.J. Clarkson. I can't remember who the director was there. There was another one in between there. And then the latest guy is the guy who went on to do Fantastic Four. So, yeah, that's where they're at. At least that many. And that's if you don't count the Tarantino one, which is kind of more of a spin-off thing. But it was supposed to use Chris Pine and all them guys. That was the point. JJ didn't give a shit. As long as they use his cast or it has anything attached to his shit, then that's all that matters. Because he wants to extend this contract. And I've heard at least some rumblings that Paramount does not want that to happen. So we'll have to wait and see. But yeah, as Blah Blah says, who cares at this point? I don't even think Chris Pine wants this to happen. Zachary Quinto could probably use the money, and he's probably kind of like, nah, I'm good.
No, Zachary Quinto's doing a lot of voice work.
Is he?
Yep. That's why you don't see him in anything live action. He's doing voices.
It's easier.
I don't know why they didn't just bring him back as fucking Spock. Like, he was a better Spock than this new guy was.
Gregory
Peck. He's not Spock.
Yeah.
Not anymore. Literally much.
He should have the book that says "I am not Spock." That's for sure.
Yeah.
He should say, "I am really not." Even less Spock.
I mean, I agree. Like, this guy was not Spock, but at least he was not as much not Spock as Gregory Peck's kid or whatever.
Yeah,
or grandkid or whatever. Yeah.
Ethan Peck.
Ethan, yeah. Sorry.
Ethan
I mean,
Peck.
I didn't. Zachary Quinto had a different take on him, but well, there was that too. But he had the look, at least, right? Like, it was.
Oh yeah, he freaked out Leonard Nimoy's wife a number of times. Just of how much he looked like him.
That's what I mean. Like, that was one thing. That's the only thing JJ got anything right out of that shit is like, if you're gonna do it, yeah, you got about 90% of this cast spot on.
I like the JJ Star Trek movies.
I didn't hate the 09 one, but
still.
I wasn't too thrilled with it. I like Bruce Greenwood a lot, but Ray Liotta should have played Pike because he looks just like Jeffrey Hunter.
None of those people should play those characters. It's not real Trek.
I know, Claudia. I know how you feel.
Hatred for this filth, all of it, all fake.
And I can't blame you because you are a pure soul.
No, I have no soul. What do you mean?
Well, that's why it's pure.
Oh, good. That makes sense. I like that.
Shackman, that's the guy who went on to Fantastic Four. Matt Shackman. He's like, greener pastures, here I come. Fuck you, Paramount. I'm done. Oh, Lord.
Oh, yeah.
So water is still wet. We're not getting Star Trek 4. End of discussion.
Well.
Exactly.
And the world is better for it.
And just like a sitcom, everything is just as it was as it started.
Yeah.
Pretty much. No Star Trek 4. So with that, I think we're going to wrap up. I don't think we have any more member chats or super chats. I didn't see anything.
Nope, we're done.
Okie dokie. So thank you, everybody, for checking in tonight. This should take you right to Nick's stream right after this. But I'm sure Klobby's got some shows coming up here sometime soon.
Shows? Oh, those.
And I added you to my list, too.
Oh,
so one of
thank
these
you.
days.
You're too kind, man. I'll be on with Loki, and I'll be doing the Comic Book Roundtable tomorrow night at 7 p.m. Central. Then at 9 after that, a couple hours after that, I'll be doing my Wild Card Wednesday night. Then Thursday, Mark and Raquel and Mark and I for the Clubhouse, and then Saturday night Star Trek. Saturday night, that's 9 p.m. there for 4 more episodes of Deep Space Nine.
Now, I think if I understand this correctly, you have to add my channel to your thing too, so I can link your stuff.
How do I do that? I'll figure out how.
I'll show. I was gonna say I'll show you one of these days. If not, it's not too hard.
You put like your friends' channels on there and stuff like that.
Yeah, it's in the. You go to the settings. It's in the thing. Sure. Yeah, maybe you have already. I don't know.
I haven't messed with that in ages. So.
But Script, I saw you're playing some video games.
Yeah, I'll be probably doing that on weekends.
Killing stuff.
Yeah, just playing around with the stream, labs, yard stuff, just trying to see what I can do there.
Y'all want to see something funny? You should watch me play Grand Theft Auto.
What about Six's channel?
I was just going to ask Six, do you have anything coming up or any streams you're going to be on?
I do not, but I do have a show that I want to promote, which is Jedi Bill, who is a friend of mine, good friend of Tom's. Tom hangs out on his channel doing karaoke 3 times a week. His 50th birthday celebration is coming up this Thursday night. So if everybody could stop by, wish him a happy birthday. Really, really kind soul.
I should be there.
Cool.
Yeah, I have to work, so I won't be there, but I'm sure I will be in chat. But if y'all could just drop by and say hi to him and leave him a like, say hi, wish him a happy birthday. He would greatly appreciate it.
Subscribe to his channels if you haven't already, because I usually head on over there to do karaoke. That I think starts just before our stream on Thursday. So yeah, check it out and go subscribe to his channel. That would be awesome.
Yeah, it starts at 6:30 p.m. Eastern.
And
it'll probably go for a while.
In any GTA D, Bud Martin, I will find things that are the most sadistic things you can do in that game, just cause. I will push it to its limit. Like when I had first started playing, I think it was the first Red Dead Redemption, or not the first, but the one for the PS3, before the newer one. When I discovered I could tie people up and put them on a train track, that was 4 hours of my life gone.
Wow.
It's like, this is great. So yes, I will generally find the most sadistic thing you can do to someone.
I like it.
Whether it's dropping them off a building or whatever, and then following them down to your death, so you can see their body just before you die.
Good times.
Killing hookers, that's like stage 1,
Wow.
Get some money. Then you start some shit with some gang members. That's always fun. Oh yeah, I can't wait till they fuck up this latest GTA, because those games are like therapy for me sometimes, where you're just like, I just need time to just go and blow some shit up. In a video game, obviously, because I don't want to break nice shit.
Yeah.
I got cool shit. I don't want to break it. So I'll just go blow up some buildings and cars. And I used to just sit out there and just blow shit up. Wait till I can get a bunch of cars piled up together and blow them all up, just to have like a big boom, 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 boom. I just do stupid shit like that. It would be really boring to probably watch me play for a while. But yeah, so Script Doctor's doing some playing. What games you playing? Was that what were you playing the other day? Diablo or whatever it was?
Oh yeah, that's it's a high definition upgrade of the original Diablo game by Beelzebub.
The Beelzebub?
Maybe.
The real one.
The one that's set aside for me.
Yeah, or they, I don't know who they are. They released an upgrade earlier this year, and I was just looking for something to decompress. And when I was playing this old game, it's like, hey, there's an update for it, so update it. And I did, and then yeah.
What's this?
Maybe I could experiment with streaming it and getting it all worked out. It worked out well. Everyone in the chat helped a great deal. Fantastic.
Decompress? What does that mean?
It means to just let the stress kind of wash over you by doing nothing work or stress related.
I don't know how that's foreign.
It's not. No one.
Are you speaking Canadian?
Norway, yeah, it's a Canadian thing. No one in Norway knows about it, so you'll probably.
That is not in Andre's vocabulary.
I was going to say I never heard that word before.
But yeah, if anything, he'd be like, you can decompress while you're editing a video.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, like he reminds me every time. It's like that scene from Clerks the Animated Series. It's damn you, fucking Kevin Smith. Fucking, it's the Temple of Doom episode where he's like, I'm tired, Randall is. Like, can I pull? I'm sick of breaking rocks. He's like, all right, take break from breaking rocks. You pull a cart with teeth. That's Andre. Instead of breaking rock, I get to pull the cart with my teeth. That's what I get to do. Anyhow, thank you so much, kids, for being here. If it wasn't for you, we wouldn't be able to do this. Take care of yourselves and each other. Head on over to Nick's. Tell him we sent you. If this doesn't send you over automatically like it's supposed to. And
as a reminder, I've been here when it was glory hole days, and I've been here when it wasn't. And so having said that, I want me some glory hole.